Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 59, Fast and Furious 6, Lap 5. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe 2, and this episode is brought to you by U.S. Aviation Academy. U.S. Aviation's mission is to provide world-class professional flight training, aviation services, and support to global customers. They are a privately held Texas corporation that strives to be the undisputed leader in elite aviation development and premier aviation services. USAviationAcademy.com.
Very cool. Now, what did they send us this time, Joe?
A plane.
Oh.
It just says Roman bitches on the tail. Just kidding. Just kidding. We got vouchers to go to flight school, you dumb.
Well, I mean, I've already taken Microsoft Flight Simulator or whatever for
That's what it
12
actually
years.
is. So, because U.S. Aviation Academy is a .com, not a .edu, it's just one copy of Flight Simulator that we have to share.
From what I understand, that game is apparently like a pretty decent training tool for flying, I think.
You watch Snakes on a Plane, too?
I did not know, but
You didn't?
That's where I heard it from.
One of the main... I mean, I'm not spoiling anything, because if you haven't seen Snakes on a Plane yet, you're not, or whatever.
I'm just not going to. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Unless we ever do our Samuel L. Jackson podcast, which is like 300 episodes.
Yeah, God. Oh, we're going to do the commercials, too? Like all
boy, what's in your wallet?
Capital One ones. Yeah. So, in Snakes on a Plane, the pilot goes down, and he's like, I'm really good at Flight Simulator, and then, lands the plane or whatever. I mean, no, but it actually is, from what I've heard, too, it is really good, and people use it to train on. And did you ever see, the big flight school, simulators that you go in and it's, a robot machine thing, though? Have you ever seen those? The actual ones that they use for pilots, you're in a small cockpit, right? It looks like a cockpit, and then there's just, a big screen. And it's essentially you're playing Flight Simulator with just, a million buttons. You're, in, a fake mech, and it, moves up and down.
I mean, that's the kind of thing that Nicolas Cage uses in the 1990 film Firebirds. He's in one of those kind of machines where he's just in sort of a little pod, almost like a circular pod or whatever.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would actually like to do that. I would like to train to be a pilot, but then at the same time, my fluctuating...
Well, now you can, thanks to U.S. Aviation Academy.
Yeah, but in a real plane.
Hey, you never know. So before Cara joins us later for Fast and Furious 6, Lap 5, an episode that I am very excited to speak to her about because this is, or a movie I'm very excited to speak to her about because this is
the pivotal one.
The great ones, right?
Yeah.
Before we get there, we've got our normal top-of-the-show festivities, extracurricular activities. Joe, what have you been up to since we last recorded? There's something big
Joey,
happened.
What have you been up to?
This past Saturday, you and I both went to past and future guest on the show, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party. He got married.
Family.
At what is...
Probably.
I've got to say, the nicest wedding I've ever been to.
The nicest wedding I've ever been to, hands down.
And probably
Gorgeous.
will ever go to.
Yeah. Holy
it was
shit.
beautiful.
We were talking about all night. The venue was gorgeous. The ceremony.
You pull up, there's a valet. I think Brian sometimes listens to this. I don't want to blow too much smoke up his ass, but there's a valet out front. There's
gorgeous.
This grand hall entry with two old dudes playing instruments.
Yes.
The bathroom smells immaculate.
Yeah.
There's this beautiful cordoned off area for the wedding.
There was drinks beforehand. There was a champagne bar before the ceremony started. We go in, we're in this nice ceremony hall, beautifully decorated, super classy. They do a ceremony, which we have to say it.
Oh, sure.
Kyle Reinfried, Mr. Foodie Films himself,
past guest,
was doing a reading, which was actually perfectly. Their ceremony had many different genres of reading and styles of readings, which was really cool. One of the things was some Bourdain quotes they had.
Yes.
The readings of the ceremony were an evolution through their relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were just there was a Pablo Neruda poem. There was an actual there was
a scripture from I think
reading.
1 Corinthians or something.
Yeah.
There was, I want to say, Nicole's mom or stepmom read from a diary of hers.
It was eclectic, but it fit really well. I was like, wow, this is such a cool idea. I really like this. It was something that I would have never thought of, right? Most of the weddings that I've gone to have been Catholic church style weddings, or very even free form friend weddings that are free for all, not even scripture or anything like that. It's a lot of talking, this is how they met type things. But I like the structure of the readings, but they were different. It was really cool.
But the reason you bring this up is because when Kyle was getting introduced to read his quotes, the officiant said, "You can find our next speaker on his podcast, Foodie Films, and I lose my mind.
Yeah, we're
and
laughing.
I start
We're
clapping,
dying,
and
we're
I
sitting
start
next
laughing.
To each other. Yeah.
Everyone laughs, but like I'm just like, this is perfect. There's like this twisted kind of backstory that I don't think we've ever fully explained. But when Chris podcasts, who was on Tokyo Drift a couple laps ago, when he on his podcast Now and Again kind of added a bumper to the beginning and the end about like this is part of the Cage Club Podcast Network, blah blah blah. He did CageClub.me, CageClub.me, and so when Kyle and Brian started P.S. I Love Hoffman, I was like, you guys can do whatever you want to do, but just like kind of have some kind of identifier there.
Yeah.
And they latched onto this thing, I think kind of making fun of it, but they're just like, all right, we'll do it, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they ever knew that it wasn't my idea. Like, it was just Chris's thing that Chris just did it, and I really liked it, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
So now there's like this very big, every episode of Hoffman, and now both on Foodie Films and High School Slumber Party, they both do CageClub.me, that's CageClub.me. They said that at the wedding. So, like, the officiant said CageClub.me, and then Kyle went up there and said, that's CageClub.me, and then read the quotes.
It was incredible.
It was so good.
And it was like way it was way formal. Like I was like kind of envisioning this happening as he said like Kyle the foodie. And then I was like, no, this is like a really nice place. Like they're not gonna do it, are they? And then they did it. And I loved it. It made me really happy. So we got a nice chuckle out of that. And then we ate so much good food.
You know, they bring us to this basically like an antechamber, which is the only way I can describe it. Like this whole back room.
There's like 10 stations. Like at least 8?
So there were 4 major stations. In each corner of the room there was a major station. There was like Asian food in one. This is all okay, so hold on. So this room is like nicer than a handful of weddings I've been to. Like
yes. Like a nice hotel lobby level
atmosphere,
nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The ambiance, everything about this. Like we know that this is not
lit.
The wedding because we know that we have tables. Like this is not the real reception. This is like the waiting
area. There's no seating. There's just like there's seating and stuff, but it's not like a sit down table.
Right. But like we're just like this. Like if this was the wedding, like this is fine. Like this is great.
Yeah, this is like incredible. Like if we called it at that point, we're like. That was a good night.
It's open bar. It's great. It's amazing. The food is all great. There's mixed drinks and beer and wine and everything you want. In one corner it's like Asian food. In one corner it's like
Brazilian food.
Brazilian, like there's like then
there was like a
chicken
seafood bar.
And there's like a grilled cheese station. Yeah. And then in between each there's like other like little things. Like there's like a crudité section. Like there's like 5 or 6 or 7 like just so much food. And also there's hundreds of people. Like there's a huge wedding, but it's
big.
So much food. And they also have like waiters coming around with like appetizers,
hors d'oeuvres, and then there's hors d'oeuvres being passed around too. So then it's like we had like bacon wrapped scallops and like all kinds of wacky stuff that's like not even on the stations. There's like bonus food. Yeah.
Is delicious.
Everything's
like there's
awesome.
not like I didn't have everything there, but everything I had was delicious.
We couldn't have eaten everything there. We couldn't have even tried everything there. There's
I don't
too
know
much.
if I told you. I told Rachel. I think you were out vape nationing. Like accidentally / on purpose didn't eat on Saturday. I'm gonna try to eat light, and then I just wound up not eating until like 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I did because there was so much goddamn food.
Yes.
And we're there, and also resident historian Mike Manzi from the Ride Along Lap is there.
He was there, yeah.
This is kind of the beginning of the end for Mike Manzi.
I wasn't gonna out him, but you can go for it.
Well, as we've talked about on the show, I mean, it's all love. It's all love here.
Family.
And it also fits
it's definitely
car
family.
Because I picked Mike up and I drove him to the wedding. As we've talked on the show before, you are basically a professional alcoholic.
Yeah, dude. You know, Rachel slings booze. Like my house is full of liquor. We drink a lot.
And I learned long ago, don't keep up with it. I don't even drink mixed drinks anymore. And especially like in a wedding, like I'm just gonna have a couple beers and just have a good time.
Don't try to pace yourself against us.
And Mike's not really doing that, but he's also doing that, and he's drinking.
We keep saying, we're like, Mike, like, don't pace yourself with us. Like, that's probably not a good idea. Like, you're an adult. I'm not gonna tell you not to. But just saying, like, if you keep up at Rachel and I's pace, it's gonna be a bad night.
He was keeping up for a while, and the cocktail hour is basically like an hour and a half, maybe almost 2 hours. And then at some point, they're like, "All right, everybody, come back to the main area," and they completely transformed where the wedding ceremony or the reception was.
Yes,
or the ceremony was into the reception. Like it's like this grand ballroom area, and there's all these tables, and it's beautiful, and the DJ there is incredible,
gorgeous, champagne, yeah, everything.
And we get sat at a table with what we were told were the cool cousins, and they definitely were. Like this was like the best table I think we possibly could have been at.
Yeah, we had a great table, tons of fun. They were hilarious. We were just like laughing. It was a good time. Yeah.
I have been told by you and by other people that like when I have a barbecue here, when I have a gathering, the group of friends that I assemble are like all just like good people and like you could talk to
Oh yeah,
anybody. This was that like times 10, 10 times the number of people. Like everyone there, like I didn't talk to everybody, but I talked to a lot of people. They're all
super
great
nice.
people. They're all
Yeah,
super nice. They're all super cool.
welcoming, friendly.
We all have like, like similar tastes and habits and stuff. We're all talking about like basically the longest conversation we had as a table was just like, what fucked up movies have you watched on Netflix? And we're just like watching like, oh man, you got to see this movie, man. Like it's just like and
Yeah,
everybody's chiming in and it's great.
yeah, and like friendly, diverse. Always, right? That's always super fun for me. It was a great time. But I agree with you. Like I always say this, like it's a really great testament that like when you assemble your friends, you're like, wow, like I could bring anybody into this group and nobody feels weird, right? They're like welcoming, they're friendly, they're diverse, they have stuff to talk about. It's awesome.
We're there for maybe like 15, 20 minutes or whatever, and then like the bridal party comes in and they have all the first dances. Like they come out, Brian and Nicole come out to Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin, which is awesome.
Awesome,
And
yeah.
they have, the mother-son dance. They have the daddy-daughter dance, like the two of them, because both her dad and her stepfather had first dance with her, which was really sweet and really cute. They had their first dance. There's, a lot of the ceremony there. Then they had kind of like an hour of just like kind of dance. Like they just like the
Dance
DJ was just
party,
like
drink time.
bumping tunes.
Yeah. And then they were like, okay, now we do food things. Awesome food again.
They bring out salad with like grilled mango or something in there, and like potato like
No,
wrapped in
it was
prosciutto.
prosciutto. It was prosciutto and cantaloupe. That's like a
No,
very
it's cantaloupe. Okay, but it's like
yeah, yeah.
grilled cantaloupe, and there's prosciutto wrapped around potato, and there's like a salad. It was delicious. Mike is slowing down.
He's getting tired.
He's getting tired. Around 8 o'clock, the entrees come out. Braised ribs, delicious.
Awesome. I
You
had
had
the braised
you had the
ribs.
ribs, right?
They were great. Rachel had the swordfish. I ate some of that. It was awesome.
I look over when the entrees come out, and Mike is just
Strug.
comatose, not moving. And I'm like, hey, are you okay, man? And he's like, nah, I can't eat. And I was like, are you like, you want to go like lay down somewhere, or do you want to like go like, you want me to call an Uber? We send Mike packing at like 8:15.
And then we kept going.
We
And it was
kept
a
going,
great
and
night.
we went for another 3 hours, and we danced, and we drank,
And we
and
had
Danza
fun.
Kuduro came on very near the end,
Yes.
and
And
that was
then
the song that got you onto the dance floor.
for sure. And we went back to the staging area and they did the whole thing again with desserts.
And
Every
so much
fucking
dessert. There was an ice cream
dessert you can
bar.
imagine.
There was
Yeah.
a waffle bar. There was fresh pretzels. There was a cupcake bar.
I had some deep fried Oreos, which are amazing. They were frying them there, like in front of you. Oh, incredible.
There were donuts and cookies and
Everything.
creme brulee, and it was insane. It was insane.
Yeah.
Then you drove you guys to the hotel
Thank
where you
you.
were staying,
Yep.
and then I drove home. It was an incredible night, an incredible wedding.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. I've been just talking it up to everyone, like saying about how much fun this was and how awesome it was and beautiful and how happy I am about going and how happy I am for them because it was great.
Like normally, like the bride and groom will send thank you notes to everybody for like thank you for coming to the wedding, thank you for the gift or whatever. But like on Monday, I was like, I messaged Brian, I was just like dude, thank you. Like this was
Yeah, we didn't
it
send
was
them thank you notes,
amazing,
right?
Like you never like, and this is not about Brian. This is just about any wedding you go to. But like you never really know what a wedding is going to be like, right? Because like weddings are obscenely expensive, even if you have like a cheap wedding, like they're obscenely expensive.
Yeah, but no, and I mean also it's just like the vibe of it. Like there's such a vast array of things you can do, right? You could have one outside in your friend's backyard, or you could have one at a very very nice place. It's like I don't know what to think about when I go into it, right? God, I was floored coming into this one.
I mean, now we know if Brian ever takes our quiz again, we know exactly what kind of wedding he would have, right?
Yeah, it wasn't a backyard country affair.
But yeah, no, like literally everyone I know is there, right? Like it's just
yeah.
huge. But yeah, like I was just like, the food was amazing, like the people were great, like it was
Yeah.
beautiful, like everything about it, like it was incredible. It was a wonderful night. I'm so glad that they were able to share their love with everybody. They just like all the hackneyed like wedding cliches, but like genuinely I mean them. It's just like it was amazing. It was a beautiful night,
Yep.
and I was just happy to be there and just like be able to like
Same.
enjoy it, right? It was just great.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it. Everything about it. I can't say
Yeah.
enough good things.
And that was kind of it. I mean, I saw, let's see here. In terms of my movie roundup in theaters, what have I seen? I saw Frozen 2, which was okay. I saw Knives Out, which was.
Matt's been talking about this. He said he wanted to go see it when he comes home for Thanksgiving this weekend.
So it comes out officially this weekend. As you listen to this, it has already come out.
Yeah.
But my AMC did a week early sneak preview or something, so I saw
Ooh.
it then.
Fancy boy.
I liked it. I did not love it. I think I like Ryan Johnson movies, like, because he did Brick.
Okay.
Like, I really like a lot of his movies, but I never really click or connect with a lot of them. He did make my favorite Star Wars movie. Last Jedi is my favorite one.
Okay.
But like I didn't love this movie like the way that I thought I was going to. And I also guessed the mystery. Like it's a murder mystery. It's a whodunit, right?
Okay.
And it's
That
told in an
sucks.
unconventional way, but I sort of still guessed what was going on, and I was just like,
Uh,
oh, all right. And I wasn't trying to guess, but I just like it just felt like, oh, okay. But I liked it. I think it's fun. I think you'll enjoy it. I think if you go with Matt, it'll be fun. And then what was the other one I saw? Oh, I saw Doctor Sleep, which I was not excited about, which is why it kind of took me like a month to see it. But
yeah.
like I actually kind of really liked it.
Good.
I think maybe partially because I had no expectations for it. But like for a 2.5 hour sequel to The Shining, it's like, well, why does this exist? Like I know the book exists, the Stephen King book exists, but like, why is this a thing? But like, it was really good. Like I was surprised.
Cool.
It's basically out of theaters now, Redbox or VOD or whatever. Check it out. I think it's cool. I mean, if you like The Shining, if you like horror-ish, like it's a long movie, but worth seeing, I think. Of the three that I saw, that's my favorite of the three. I think Knives Out will probably be the most popular to most people, the most
Yeah.
liked of the three, but not a bad roundup.
Just a tiny addendum. I just want to say thanks to Wes. Joey gave me the nice Hobbs and Shaw glass from the Alamo Draft House. Hobbs and Shaw. I sent him a message to say thank you, but he gave us this really cool Hobbs and Shaw glasses, and I got mine when I saw Joey this weekend, and it was awesome. So just thank you.
Yeah, I was so surprised. Like I was impressed with myself that I remembered.
Remembered. Yeah, it's one of these things like, like when we see each other, we're like doing other shit. Like, obviously, we were doing wedding shit. And then, like, right as I was about to get out of the car, you're like, oh, wait, here. And, like, gave me the glass. I was like, fuck yes.
Yep.
This is awesome.
So cool. Well, yeah. Shout out Wes once again for that. And
Yeah,
speaking of
thank you.
shout out Wes, let us head over to the email, to our inbox, to our mailbag. We have an email address here on the show, family@cageclub.me. Joe, we have, I think, I need to open up the webmail again
How
because I
many?
am
How
not
many? Drum
on top
roll.
of it. I think we have 6 emails, if I'm right.
Okay. Ooh.
We have 6 emails.
Okay.
First email from Justin Kleinman, subject top 5 FF songs.
Oh, yeah, because we were asking everybody to send in their most Fast and the Furious greatest hits song.
Shout out, Justin. Thank you for writing in, Justin. Good to hear from you. He says, all right, here's my list. I definitely prefer the way the soundtracks have gone in the last half of the series, as they gone, I guess, sort of from like rap rock to sort of more hip hop, I would say.
Yeah.
Probably right. Number 5 is a tie. We Own It by Wiz and 2 Chainz from Fast and Furious 6,
Yeah.
and Hey Ma by Pitbull and J Balvin from Fate of the Furious.
Okay.
Hey Ma's a good song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a song that I would necessarily listen to if it wasn't in the movie, but, on the soundtrack, when I listen to the soundtracks, I like it.
Same. Yeah.
Number 4, Bandoleros, Don Omar and Tego,
Yeah.
Tokyo Drift. Number 3, Rest of My Life by Ludacris and Usher from Fast and Furious 6.
I mean, we just watched it. I couldn't pick that one out. Like,
I think it's the closing credit song.
Okay.
Because I know that there is a Ludacris song either at the very end of the movie or over the closing credits. Because I remember hearing like, oh, like I don't know if I've ever really noticed it before, but because I think we talked so much about the songs specifically, right, and Ludacris being in here, blah 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 blah,
Yes.
that I think when I was like, oh, there's Ludacris again. Number 2,
What?
Good Life by G-Eazy and Kehlani from Fate of the Furious. Also again from Fate of the Furious.
Yeah, people like G-Eazy a lot, man, and he makes like music. Like people really enjoy it. I'm not opposed to it.
And then Justin's number 1 favorite song. Can you guess what it is? It's from a later movie.
Ooh,
It's the big one
see you again.
by Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth
Yeah.
from Furious 7. Number 1.
Yeah, that's tug on your heartstrings levels. So
For
yeah.
sure. Justin says, also for the record, I am in Minneapolis proper, specifically northeast Minneapolis, where all the cool shit is.
Minneapolis is dope.
Yeah, I was
I'm a
there.
big
I've been
fan.
there a couple times for a couple Vikings games.
We flew in because we were going to Iowa for beer, and it was -2 degrees in the rental car as we got in. We immediately played Little Yachty, Cold Like Minnesota on loop for like 6 plays and just sang Cold Like Minnesota as we drove through at -2 degrees in Minneapolis. So that's my whole story. But it's incredible. It was a fun time.
I don't know where to go. I think my sister. I think my sister connected through Minneapolis one time, and like it was -2 outside or something. Like, it was just like, yeah, it's just
Frigid.
it's
Yes.
a very cold city.
It is, yeah. But the people are sweet and the girls are very attractive.
Everyone is Minnesota nice,
They are. It's true.
which is not a compliment.
What?
Minnesota nice is a very passive aggressive nice.
Oh, you're
Do you know that? So it's like
No.
it's nice in a way that like is cutting to the bone.
like they're like bless your heart type thing.
No, like oh that sweater look it looks really nice on you, but like the way that they say it it's like, oh, you don't mean that at all. Maria Bamford talks about that a lot in
Oh,
her
okay.
stand up because she's from Duluth, I think, Minnesota. Like there's a coldness, like there's a warmness and a coldness. And I'm not talking about like Justin seems like nothing but the best. I'm not talking about Justin.
Yeah.
But like traditionally in the Midwest, there's a passive aggression
Like instead of you saying like that's a fucking ugly sweater, you say that's a really nice sweater.
or like they kill you with kindness. Like it's there's a very like look up Minnesota nice. It's like this very specific type of like oh okay.
I get it, like church people.
Next email from I'll just read the subject line. I'm sure you can gather who this is. Besides hump a lot, what do lumberjacks do to stay in shape? They drink plaid teen shakes and exercise.
Is that like a Laffy Taffy joke?
Very well might be
I
from,
like
of
it.
course, Wells Lamont.
Wells Mont, yeah. What's up, Wells?
I have a buddy who knows some younger kid who creates board games. I've been talking
Ooh.
to him about making a Fast and Furious game. He's seen a few of the movies, but he's no veteran like myself. So I'm trying to figure out how to have him acquire enough knowledge to make the perfect game.
Well, I have an idea.
Well,
And
he
it starts
says the
with,
next sentence, any ideas will help.
boy, do we have a podcast for him.
Yes.
So first of all, make him watch all 9 movies, obviously.
Well, the next thing it says, I'm giving him my DVDs and told him if he watched them and took notes and implemented a little bit from each movie, I would pay him $200 extra. I've seen finished products and played a game that he made and it's very professional. As I progress
Oh,
further with this project, I'll keep you guys updated, but that's the stages we're currently in.
please. I mean, obviously, you know that we need beta copies, and I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
Duh. Obviously.
One of the coolest things that happened to me, like in terms of like running the case for the podcast network, is this guy made basically like Old Maid, I think, but for Nicolas Cage
We
characters.
played it. I played it at your house with you guys.
I think he asked, "Would you mind mentioning this on the show?" I was like, "Can you send us a copy and like we'll just play it and talk
Trade.
about it?" He's like, "Yeah."
It was really cool. Yeah, it was fun. It was just Old Maid with wacky fun time, Cage characters from movies, and we had a good time.
Wells says on another note, the Fast and Furious director says he's hopeful for a Fast TV spinoff. Hands in prayer emoji.
We're hoping for a TV spinoff. I agree. I would love a live action TV spinoff, like a real drama, like much like the movies. But
'Cause
we're
we
getting
got
the
some
animated
news.
yeah.
The animated series now comes out the day after Christmas. Like basically, what we thought was maybe like not that it was going to be canceled, but like we just had no news for like 4 or 5
It
months.
was just like
And they're like,
radio
"Hey, by the way, it's
silence.
out in a month."
Yep. I don't know if that's a good or bad sign. Probably bad, but we're gonna watch it anyway, so we're gonna talk about it.
We're going to do it this lap.
Yeah.
I agree with you in terms of like the quote I think was from David Leitch who made Hobbs and Shaw, and he was basically saying, you look at Madame M, who is Isa Gonzalez, who is in Hobbs and Shaw, and you think about her as
Yes.
her madam, her mistress, with this like round, like this circle, this ring of like
It's kind of like a
badass
Kill Bill
lady
type
assassins.
right? Like Kill Bill kind of feel. It would feel like a Kill Bill kind of situation to me. Oh no! You know what it is? It's like the pilot that they pitch in Pulp Fiction.
Fox Force 5.
Fox Force 5. Yes, exactly.
Fox because they're a bunch of foxy
You nailed
ladies.
it.
Force because we're forced to be reckoned with, and 5 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us.
Yes, exactly.
And yes, and the plot is Kill Bill. Yes.
I think Madame M would fit perfectly into Fox Force 5, right?
Sure.
Like, it sounds like a very similar plot.
I want the Fastiverse to never end as long as it never turns into an Independence Day 2 type of awful. I agree. Not great. Shows, spin-off movies, serials, theme parks, tours, all that stuff. Long live the Fastiverse.
I mean, obviously we're in the same boat as you, in the same car as you.
Well, we don't have a theme park, but we do have a theme park ride, which you and I
We do.
covered on this very show.
Universal, yeah, we do.
I'm a weirdo, Wells writes, and I hope they bring Brian back. He had a great send-off in 7, but to me, wasn't a Brian send-off, it was a Paul Walker send-off.
Oh, fair point. I can see it.
Brian is still in the realm, and I would love his brother to play him. I mean, at this point, does anything even matter anymore, LOL? I just need the content.
Yeah, let's give him a 3-part spin-off prequel trilogy.
Bring back all the deceased and keep turning out movies. Unfortunately, I'm not a superhero / comic book movie fan, nor am I a Star Wars fan besides 2 of the originals. I bring those up because there's a Star Wars movie every year, and
True.
16 superhero movies a month.
Yep.
I'm not so much into sci-fi and fantasy, but I want to see the Fast and Furious to be on that level. Pretty much to a point where, quote, now I need to incorporate a movie fund into my budget because there's so many movies to see. I want it to be excessive.
Can you imagine if we have like phase 4 of the Fastiverse and it's just like like Suki's Wild Ride, and then like like we get like all of these spin-offs, Agents of Fast and stuff like that. You have to have Netflix, you have to have Disney Plus, you have to have like all of these things to get all the pieces of it. Just spreads everywhere. Like there's no way anybody that like can actually watch like all the Marvel content. Like I know that there's people that have, but like it's so much content, right?
The problem with that is, and I think that's something that Disney is trying to fix now with Disney Plus, is that I can keep up with things, but I can't catch up on things. And so when they're like, hey, over the span of like 4 months, here's 4 new Marvel shows. There's a Daredevil season. There's an Iron
Yes.
Fist season.
Yes.
There's a Punisher season. There's a Jessica Jones season. I'm just like, I don't have, like, I would have 50 hours if you put it out over 6 month span, like one a week or whatever,
Yeah.
which is what they're doing with The Mandalorian, weekly episodic release, which is
Which I
helping,
hate.
number one.
Yeah.
You hate that?
Yeah, dude, I want all the episodes at once. I mean, like now that we've come up with it like that, like the weekly
No, I
releases.
can't do it. I don't do that. Like I can't do that because I can't keep up with it.
I
Like you can
know.
still wait. Like you could still wait 3 months and then just binge it all at once if you want to do that. Like the ability to have a conversation about an episode and also the ability to actually like factor in an hour in my week as opposed to like, oh, well, I got 9 hours of Mindhunter season 2 that like it just feels daunting to break into. Like it's
I feel
nice
you.
to
I
have
get it.
that
Yeah.
chunk, but it's like I don't know. Like 1 hour is so much more approachable than 9.
My drug-induced ADD makes it nearly impossible for me to remember what's happening week to week, so it loses some of the luster if I don't watch it in like a big chunk, a big chunk.
But you still can. You just have to wait a little bit. But I think the windowed release.
But
Like
then
I
people
just.
spoil shit. That's what annoys me.
But people still spoil shit anyway.
No, not really. When it's like chunk release shows, like everybody kind of has this weird, like, really cool about like not spoiling shit. Like I've noticed that. Like if a show comes out like all at once, people won't post spoilers immediately because there's an assumption that you like people probably didn't all watch it midnight the night that it came out.
But like even for the Mandalorian, which is just it's the one episode. Like
Star Wars is like a different thing though, because everybody's so bonered about ruining Star Wars.
Nerdist posted like a spoiler in a title of an article at lunchtime the day it came out. It's like, well, what did you expect? How are people not going to be upset about that? Like you don't even give them time like to watch it. Like what do you?
Yeah, that's lame.
Anyway, TLDR, I like a windowed release. I don't mind.
I
I
like
like
chunks.
keeping up with things. I look forward now to Fridays because that's when The Mandalorian comes out. Like, it's not my favorite show, but I like looking forward to it. If they drop 13 episodes, I don't know if I even would have started it by now. You know what I mean? Like, it just.
Yeah, I get you. Like in the same sense that like what I really do love spreading out though is like reality trash TV like Temptation Island. Like if I get one every Thursday, like I look forward to it. I get the enjoyment of looking forward to it. But Temptation Island isn't something that like I'm like, "Oh fuck, I forgot Jesse like had this thing 3 episodes ago." You know what I mean? Like it's Temptation Island. It doesn't really matter if I don't remember anything.
I
Like
got you.
different vibes, yeah.
Wells writes, all right, bros, until next time, like my friend's little brother would say back in the day, peace anus, you anus piecers. I still don't know what it means, but it always cracks me up.
What anus piecers? Peace anus, you anus piecers. I don't know what it
Sure.
means either. It would make me laugh if like a little kid said this to me. Peace anus, anus piecers.
I remember the first time I heard the F word was when I was in third grade and
You
I was
remember
over at my
hearing
friend's
it?
house
Okay.
and his older brother was playing hockey and his hockey stick broke and he thought that we like tampered with it and he's like, you motherfuckers, and I was like, well, I don't know what this is, but I know this is bad.
The inflection of it sounded scary.
And I just looked at my friend, we were both like he made it look like, oh, we don't want to be near him right now, like this is we don't want to be near this. And I was just like, oh boy.
Did you guys run?
Ooh.
What happened?
We ran away. Like, we were just outside. Like, we ran away or whatever. But, like, he didn't follow us. But I was just like, why would I fuck with his stick? Like, I'm not, like, why am I lumped into this? Like, he might have done something. I didn't, like, I just got here.
That's awesome. I like that. Good story. Nice
It wasn't as
share.
good as Peace Anus, You Anus Piecers, but I was just
No,
like,
but
"Ooh,
it's good. I liked
This
it.
is,
That was
boy.
fun. Yeah.
The next 3 emails are kind of a triptych. And there's a little bit of a backstory here. So they're all from Jenny, superfan
Okay.
Jenny McMullen. 2
Oh,
she
good.
sent to
Glad
this
hear
show.
from Jenny.
But 1 she sent to boyfriend material.
Ooh.
But it's about a movie that has a car that's featuring a car very prominently and
Okay.
a car verb in the title. So I forwarded it here because boyfriend material
Drive.
may rest in peace.
Yeah.
So first up, subject line movies. Jenny writes, hi guys, been meaning to write in, but never in the right place at the right time. So just found Drive on Netflix on Saturday night. The jacket, the watch, the music.
It's
Only
beautiful.
20 minutes in. Hope we like it.
Oh, I hope she did like it. We really enjoyed that movie. I like it.
But this is the Too Fast, Too Forever podcast, so thanks for putting Ford v Ferrari in the lineup. Been meaning to take my dad to lunch in a movie, and this one will fit the bill.
Yeah, that would be a great dad and movie lunch type dad date. that would be awesome. I would take my dad to go see this movie if he was close.
She said, we went and watched it last weekend. It was set in his era, and he pointed out a car and he said, quote, I had one of those.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
He's not a fan of Fords, so he mentioned that too when they revealed the Mustang. He's more of a Chevy guy. Shout out. But it was cool learning about two main characters and who they must have been in real life. I thought it was a pretty decent flick.
It was
We had a
great
good
movie.
time.
Good.
She says, another movie I've seen the weekend before was The Lighthouse, like Joey. I don't go to the movies very often, but a friend said, let's go, and let me pick what movie. I suggested this one. I chose it because it looked like the most appealing, and I thought it might be Oscar material. It was definitely good acting, but very disturbing, which is what they were going for, so it was worth watching. Love The Lighthouse. In my top 5 for the year so far.
Wow. Okay, good.
Back to the podcast. All the talk about Han recently made me look him up on Wikipedia. I always had wondered what had to do with it. Oh boy. Bleep technology.
Bleep technology, yeah.
Having not seen 6 or 7, so now I know. Really enjoying this lap and Cara's take on the films later, Jenny.
We love Cara, yeah. Thank you, Jenny, for writing in, too, by the way.
This is something that Jenny reminded me of. If you are listening to this episode because you found Ford v Ferrari last week, I mean, it basically, as we're recording this, the episode just came out.
Yes.
So unless someone found it and was just like, I got to email these guys right away, there's no way for us to know. But if you found our show because of Ford v Ferrari and you stuck around, email family@cageclub.me, let us know that you did that, because I wonder if covering, like, we're not just going to cover new movies, but like covering new movies about cars and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, it makes sense, and like it also, diversifies us a little bit.
I agree.
On a related topic, next email from Jenny, The 24-Hour War.
Okay.
Hi guys, I just watched a documentary, The 24-Hour War, on Netflix about the entire history of the Ford v Ferrari rivalry. It featured commentary from many legends in the racing industry. If you like the movie and want to see more, this documentary will cover it. It kept my attention, unlike Hyperdrive. Harsh words for Hyperdrive.
If you weren't into like the game show fun time car aspect of it, it's not for everyone. I get it. They tried to make it for everyone, but I can definitely see people being like, I didn't want to watch that.
That's what I thought. Like, I thought that I would not connect with it, and I was just so glad that I did. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
After hearing you guys talk about it, I gave it a look-see. Only made it about 2/3 of the way through the first episode. All the lights and all the driving at night were just too much for me. It was difficult to follow.
Oh,
at least I gave it a try later, Jenny.
Yeah, no worries. You heard us talk about it. I mean, we pretty much broke down everything about it if you listened. So
yeah, I think if the visual style, visual style doesn't really change. Like, that's consistent throughout. Like, I would say that if you were having
like a seizure. Like, it's seizure induced. It's like neon and like flashing lights and shit. Yeah, if you didn't like the visualizations early, don't continue. We wouldn't push it on you because it's not going to change.
Because I was gonna say, like, if it was narratively, because like in terms of the actual like structure and like the way that the show is, like the first few episodes are, I think, we talked about this on the episode, way worse. Like, I think once they lock in the field, they're used to like what the show is,
and it
gets a lot better.
Yes.
But if it's the actual visual style, that is consistent throughout. And so if you need to jump ship, by all means, jump ship.
Amen.
Third email from Jenny. This is the one to boyfriend material. Subject line, Drive.
Okay.
Hi guys, just finished watching Drive. When he drove away from the money, I exclaimed, no fucking way. Other than that, it was good in that it kept our attention, but there were a few times when we were wondering what's going on. I predicted when the husband would get killed. My husband noticed in one of the scenes in a car where he was driving Irene through the city that the gauges were at 0, meaning the car was not even running. Ooh.
Yeah. I hate when that happens. That's
goof.
No, I just didn't notice it when I was watching Drive because we weren't doing the minute yet. Yeah, like, so I wasn't like in that mindset to like watch for gauges and stuff.
It was also cool to see other actors like Christina Hendricks, Bryan Cranston, and Albert Brooks in different kinds of roles. It was worth watching, but I was a little disappointed in the ending. Later, Jenny. P.S. I realized as we were watching it that the gloves played a bigger part than the watch. Also, wearing the jacket with the blood on it was a little weird.
Yeah, that is a little weird. Go wash your jacket, get it dry cleaned. I was actually just talking about Drive because Matt was asking me if I had ever seen Only Goss Forgives, and I said, yes, Matt, of course I have.
I've seen everything he's done except for Breaker High.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, Matt, did you like Drive? And if you did like Drive, Only Goss Forgives is a prettier, more convoluted version of
prettier, weirder version. Yeah.
And he said yes, and he said he would give it a shot, but he hasn't watched it yet. But we were just talking about it.
I feel like he's not gonna like it, but we'll find out.
No, yeah, I don't know. I was like, dude, like if you really like Drive, you might like Only Goss Forgives. That's the level that I put it at. I can't imagine somebody's like, I loved Only God Forgives and hated Drive.
With Nicholas Winding Refn's movies, like Drive is kind of the most approachable one,
for
and
sure.
It's still
not
weird.
Yeah.
Really approachable at times.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
1,000%. That's what I was trying to convey to Matt. I'm with you 100%, brother.
So thank you, Jenny, for writing in.
Thank you,
I hope
Jenny.
you're okay that we read the Boyfriend Material one on here, because otherwise it would probably just never get read.
Yeah.
It made
Amen.
sense. I think it made sense for talk about Drive, especially. It's not like talking about Young Hercules, which shout out
Fuck
Young
yeah.
Hercules. Last email from Mr. West Hampton. Subject line F and F6. What up, fam?
What up, Wes?
I'm glad I didn't try to rush and get an email out last week since you recorded the Ford v Ferrari episode so soon after Fast Five.
Yeah, no worries. Like we said before, like, they just come out as they come out. No rush. We're
Yeah.
okay. And we're okay having episodes where we don't have emails. I mean, like, we love emails and we want
Yep.
emails, but, like, it's okay if it just doesn't line up. I know that we record on different days and stuff, so.
It used to be Wednesday for a while, and I feel like we haven't done Wednesday in a while, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, more
I guess it's
content,
hockey
though.
season now, and it's always a mixed bag in hockey season.
Truth. That is true. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's been so busy around here with Thanksgiving cookie business combined with the regular Thanksgiving nonsense, we haven't gone to see anything in like 2 weeks, but I like the episode a lot.
Cool, good. I hope we didn't spoil anything, but again, like we said on the episode, like, you can't really spoil Ford versus Ferrari because it's, like, a known story. It's like, go see the movie and you'll probably enjoy it no matter what we said, so.
I don't feel like the movie was spoiled. Here we go.
Good.
I feel
There
like
you go.
yeah, I feel like I always need to read one more sentence, and it basically
I'm
doesn't
sorry.
nullify what you said, but like just like, oh yeah, exactly, you're right there. I
Yeah,
don't feel like the movie was spoiled past the point of still being enjoyable, and I do plan to see it eventually.
good.
He says, I'm also excited to hear that Cara is liking these movies more and more, though I am disappointed in everyone involved that the big Tokyo Drift reveal was
I
spoiled for
know.
her.
Trust me, we are too. But she still doesn't know any of the beep, 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 beep technology stuffs. We're going to play it by ear and see how it goes.
And because we recorded the back half of this before we did this part, we know that she stopped. She did not see the credit scene in this. So that reveal, that surprise is
And
still intact.
now that she's seen this movie, and we know that she's seen this movie, she didn't know that Giselle died.
Right.
So like Giselle dying in this one now is like was like still like flooring, right? She was expecting the first one, but then Giselle died, and she's like, oh.
We'll make up for it in lap 7, I hope. I mean, at some point
I
we're going to
hope.
do
I
this.
try. Yeah.
I was really curious to see her honest reaction watching the movies in this order because I've always gone back and forth in my head on the best watching order for new fans. I guess now we'll never know. Lies! We will know
We
hopefully
will.
in lap 7.
We hopefully will. And hey, we got infinite laps. So if we fuck it up 100 times, we're still gonna try. We'll try to find someone that we can do it.
The science is ruined. Thanks a lot.
Oh God.
Anyway, here are my new episode observations.
Okay.
It says, congrats to Ben on his new baby. Now the real question is, which die-cast car model are you going to buy for them?
Are you already trying to push tuners on them?
Jack, you got a garage all to yourself. First car better be a Charger. You mean Skyline?
He is a Toretto.
I don't remember what this is referring to, but I made a note that said, quote, locksmith scam. I don't know if you ever listened to Reply All. I do not. And because it's a
don't.
podcast that you're not on, you don't either.
I
But a
don't.
few years ago, they did some episodes about online scams. There was a really great one, mostly about this really widespread locksmith scam. But it's also about
Oh.
Google AdWords. I don't know how out of date it is at this point, but it was a fascinating listen when it came out. Here's a link.
Okay, cool.
Speaking of links, here's my Fast and Furious Anthems playlist, which I'll share with you later as well.
Okay.
There was, when I was interning at the newspaper by me in college, there was a scam going on where, I mean, I'm sure that these kind of things happen all the time, but there was a scam where people would go to basically old people's houses and offer to repave their driveway and get paid up front and start the work and then leave. And it's not only like it's shitty enough that you're stealing from old people, but you're also like actively fucking up their driveway and then not fixing it. It's like this is like a double whammy.
Yeah, like
that's
you're like a
real
super
shitty.
asshole. Like at least
Yeah.
like get them to like pay you for like the first half of it and just not do it, not do half of it. You know what I mean? That's really fucked. Assholes. That really sucks.
Right.
I've heard about that though. I mean, like I've heard this is like a very common contractor thing, not against any contractors. I know great ones, but like I've heard of contractors starting jobs and not finishing them and stuff like that. It just sucks. It's not fair. And don't fuck with old people for no reason. I mean, like, there's plenty of reasons to be angry at old people.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, you should, but like, don't purposely set out to fuck with them. Like, you can be angry at them from a distance. Don't fuck with anybody, but yeah.
Yeah. I'll preface this by saying everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and I can kind of see where she's coming from, but those are some super hot takes from Cara about not liking Brian or The Rock.
I know. We're kind of curious if she'll ever come around. Like, is it just gonna be like repetition is gonna get to her, or
I
what?
think I think she'll like Hobbs after Fate. Furious 7, because he's not spoilers-ish, but it's not really a spoiler. He's not in 7 a lot. I think there's going to be like a slight uptick. I think 8 is where it's going to turn the corner, because like 8 is really like, oh, we need a breakout star.
Yeah.
I do think they both get better as the movies go on, and I hope she feels the same. I love Fast Five, but that's definitely my least favorite version of Hobbs because they didn't write as The Rock's strengths, which we talked about before. Like it's just like
Yep.
a generic military man, whatever.
Yeah, he's playing the character of the Fast and the Furious, not he's playing The Rock as
Yes.
Hobbs.
I always assumed that the whole had to make a call thing from Fast Five was about Brian telling Mia to steal the car, not about driving the car off a cliff. He realized something was up and he made a call to change the plan, even though it
Ah,
had made zero sense and everything would have been fine if they had just gone along with the original heist. Either way, shitty call, O'Connor.
yeah. I mean, Brian makes a lot of shitty calls. It happens.
When I was looking for the info on when Giselle was named, I just searched through transcripts, so I thought they might have shown it on a DSS screen somewhere, but I wasn't sure. Good to know she didn't officially go unnamed for 2 whole movies. Yeah, but just, not much better. It just
Yeah,
slightly better.
slightly, very slightly.
Kara also mentioned in respect to Tej that being a circuit guy is a lot different than being a software guy, and I think with Ramsey in the mix now, they really need to lean into that more. They've used him as the de facto hacker,
Ah.
but Tej owned a garage or two, so he should really just be the mechanic, tinkerer, inventor. That way he and Ramsey complement each other rather than one of them seeming redundant.
And that would set them up nice to relationship, right?
Yeah,
That
just
if they
what's,
were like a
what's my
good
last name?
compliment, if they were a good compliment, then that cuts Roman out because he's just a talker. So like he had a shot, but if it's gonna be that Tej and Ramsey are working together all the time, then like obviously we know that they're gonna be the team. They're gonna be like a Brian and Mia kind of team, like that they need each other to work. So
Yeah, we need a hacker. We need another hacker. We need
yeah,
another
he's
hacker.
right.
We need another hacker.
Yeah, Tej was circuits. Yeah.
Especially knowing that Bleep Technology is the villain in 8. Bleep Technology specialty is computers.
Yes.
And knowing the franchise's tendency to turn villains into heroes, if Bleep Technology joins the family, they're going to have
Yes.
3 people?
Yeah, they're gonna have 3 circuits. Doesn't make any sense.
In response to all the deaths in Fast 5, they're always pretty careful to show people running out of the way, and the only people you see getting wrecked are the, quote, crooked cops, or presumably, empty cars parked on the side of the road. Yes, in reality, the safe stunt would have killed dozens of people, but in the movie universe, it's like one of their automancer powers that they can wreak all this havoc with zero civilian casualties.
Ooh.
It's not really until Fast and Furious 6 when we see Owen running over civilian cars for fun that we see a truly thoughtless act of violence. And honestly, the tank scene makes him a much more evil and unforgivable character than any other villain in my eyes.
Ooh.
Other bad guys may
That's an
have killed the
interesting take.
occasional bystander, but it was always for collateral damage or as a mean to an end, never for fun.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The people that like Braga and them are killing for the most part are like part of their crew, other
Yep.
drug dealers, like they're other criminals. I guess Owen is the only one that's like running over, actually seeking out killing civilians for no apparent reason.
We talk about that in this episode. In the back half of this episode, we talk about Shaw versus Dom. They have that interaction in this movie where they're talking about like Shaw's like this means to an end. It's, pieces are interchangeable as long as the end result. And I think it's between that and just him killing people for fun or for whatever. It's like, oh, he's a different breed of criminal than Dom.
Yes.
Wes says, sorry, Joe, I've never owned a WRX, though I would love to drive one. I've never owned any remotely cool car. My relationship with vehicles has always been, quote, what's the cheapest thing that will get me to and from work?
You know what it was? I think I'm remembering that there was a Subaru in the lot picture that he sent you of the Alamo Draft House. I think that one of the pictures he sent us of something like that had a Subaru in the background. But you know what? Now that he says it, I think he did mention that he like didn't have any super fun car or something weird like that. But I swear to God, he sent us a picture that had a Subaru in it at one point.
All right, this is a big one. The Harry Potter house system is fundamentally flawed, like any system that tries to paint a person with broad strokes, but, like everyone else, I also like to identify with these fictional divisions, which is what makes it such a popular device in young adult literature. I've always self-identified as a Ravenclaw, confirmed by Pottermore, which I think is fairly common with fans of the books, because reading fantasy for fun is some real nerd shit, but I'm also a real analytical person, if you couldn't tell. I think we could tell.
Yes, yeah.
I don't go in for the whole combined houses ideas. Ravenpuff and Slytherin are not a thing. Never heard of
No.
that. I don't like that.
Nope, I don't
Unsubscribe.
like it either.
But I do think about it in terms of primary and secondary personality traits. I'm a Ravenclaw, but I'm definitely on the Slytherin end of the Ravenclaw spectrum. I agree that Rowling kind of dicked over the Slytherins to make things simplistic, but there are no bad houses. All houses have good and bad aspects like any person does.
True, I would agree with that.
Slytherins are ambitious and cunning. They can use it for good as easily as bad, and generally, I think of Gryffindors as being more loud and brash than the other houses.
Yeah, assholes.
Mrs. West is a Gryffindor, through and
Sorry,
through.
Mrs. West. I like you.
Asshole. She's got the friendliness and loyalty of a Hufflepuff, shout out, but she's also bold and draws people to her. Anyway, I clearly have a lot of thoughts about this whole thing, but I think I've said enough. I'm always kind of fascinated with these type of personality type identifiers, like
Same.
Myers-Briggs or even astrology to a point, even though I don't believe in it at all. I guess it's why I enjoyed writing the character descriptions for your quiz.
Yeah, and we thank you, and they are great.
That's the one thing, I love having Cara on. I love bringing these movies to her for the first time, but not being able to do the quiz every time, like,
Oh, I know it hurts, right?
because we spent spent so much time on that, and like we're gonna be like next lab is gonna be all different guests, and we're gonna have that all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, man, oh man.
Oof, I agree.
Wes says, I love the idea of a 24-hour Fast and Furious marathon live stream. Put it up on Twitch or Facebook Live or something. I think for
Exactly.
copyright reasons, you wouldn't be able to show the TV, but
But show
everyone can
us.
synchronize with you and watch along if they wanted. I think it would be a lot of fun. Absolutely.
That's what I think too. Like we could even show the like progress bar or something. Yeah, we could figure it out. I agree. I would like to do a 24-hour Fast and Furious torture chamber. Tag in, tag out. Somebody must be awake at all times type.
You know what we could also do, depending on what the show looks like in 6 months. There's a reason we're weekly on this because we've seen growth with the show. More people writing in, and more people listening, and more people
Amen.
on social
Yeah.
media than anything else we've ever done. But if it continues to grow, maybe. And I don't want to, put the cart before the horse. If we have even more people listening by the time Fast and Furious 9 comes out, maybe we do like an annual event where we just do 24 hours before each new movie.
The 24-hour Le Mans before each movie.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm down. And we just like binge them right before we go.
I don't know if it'd be right before we go because I don't want to fall asleep in the theater, which I almost certainly
Yes.
would. But like the
No,
weekend
no, no,
before,
not like right before we go, but like the weekend before.
yeah, it doesn't even have to be necessarily 24 hours. It can be all of them once, or it could be we could find other stuff to put in or whatever, or I don't know, whatever it is. But
Shuffle, put them on
yeah,
shuffle. It doesn't really matter. I mean, at this point, like I think we're getting them down to the point where like we fucking know them.
yeah. Wes says, I've never seen Tammy and the T-Rex, but I've listened to a podcast episode about the original cut, and without spoiling anything, Joe is way off on the plot. Well, I think we all know that. It's way more weird, and I'm really going to try to find the gore cut before your episode on it. And as we say in the back half of this, we still have no updates on that just because it's not Black Friday yet. I don't know how quickly Vinegar Syndrome is going to get these out or how quickly, if they're going to put it up online or whatever.
Yeah.
So it might get flip-flopped one spot or whatever.
Yeah, we'll play it by ear.
So actually here, I will announce this right now because this is going to be the next episode that we're doing. So, the patrons have voted. Voting is closed.
Oh, you're
not
gonna tell
officially.
me? You're gonna tell me? Because I don't know what it is either.
You don't know what it is. Voting is closed on the patron poll. I mean, it's still open, but just it's so far back that nobody's
yeah.
going to scroll back there. The movie that people have picked, that our patrons
What
have
is
picked
it?
on toofast2forever.com
Drum roll.
for us to cover for the Paul Walker lap is
'Kay.
Into the Blue.
Ooh.
So,
Okay.
Jessica Alba, Paul Walker, swimming
Don't
in
tell me
beautiful
anymore.
waters. If you're listening to this, and we'll put it out on Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that if we can't find it or whatever. But if you're unsure, just see Into the Blue and see Tammy and the T-Rex the gore cut because we're going to do them both this lap. We're ideally going to do Tammy next week because I think that's going to be more timely and people are maybe like
Yeah.
looking for it.
As
But
it comes out, yeah.
yes, but if we can't get it, then we'll do Into the Blue and then we'll do this when we would normally do Into the Blue, right? So
Yeah.
know that, watch both of those. But Into the Blue, Tammy and the T-Rex, one of those will be next week. Stay tuned to all the social media channels and whatever for the update there. Well, I think this email's gone on long enough. I hope Cara continues to like the movies. Spoiler, she liked this one a lot. Until next time, stay furious, Wes.
Thank you, Wes, for writing in.
And that's all of our emails.
I have a mini addendum to that. There is one more message that I would like to read that I mentioned to you a while ago.
Oh, I think I screenshotted this, but yes, go ahead.
As everybody knows that listens, we play a game called Boy Do We Have a Podcast for You. And it originally started because I would see my friends mention an actor that we were talking about, like Zac Efron, on social media. And I would just tell them, Boy, Do We Have a Podcast for You, and link to the Zac Efron podcast. And then, we started doing Too Fast, Too Forever. Now we have Too Fast, Too Forever. We have the Facebook page. I saw one of my Facebook friends, Dustin, and he was saying, make Fast and the Furious car movies again. And I just said, Boy, Do We Have a Podcast for You, and link to the podcast. And he's like, holy shit, is this really you? And we were like, yeah, this is, what me and Joey do. And like, we release it weekly and we talk about Fast and Furious movies, once every 2 weeks, forever, on loop, indefinitely. And he was like, holy shit. He's like, I'm going to listen to it. A lot of people say that. I don't always believe it. I'm never going to force it on someone. I like playing Boy Do We Have a Podcast for you and seeing people respond more than anything. I said, hey, if you ever want to, send me your rankings. We'll read them on air. So he apparently has been listening. Mind blown. I didn't think he would. And he sent us in his rankings. I'm going to read them now. We can add them to the sheet. Right,
yep, I'm doing that right now.
Things. Yep. So this is pre-Hobbs and Shaw. He sends me the rankings. He said I found myself smoking cigs and thinking about how shitty number 8 is, and this was a really difficult task. Make Fast and Furious street racing movies again. I'll go from bottom to top. That little hint should have given you the clue. 8, Fate of the Furious.
Yep.
He says 6 and 7 or the numbers 6 and 7 are a coin flip between Fast and Furious 6 and Too Fast, Too Furious. So he has 6 really low. He has
Which I understand if he likes the car movies more, but still 6 that low is crazy.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Number 5, he continues with his number matching, is Fast 5.
Again, crazy that it's this low.
Crazy that low. Number 4, Fast and Furious 7. People have that high. People like it, so that makes sense. Number 3, what he claims has the best soundtrack, which I think we would be inclined to agree with, is Tokyo Drift.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Fast and Furious, which is 4.
Which is crazy high, but okay.
Crazy high. Yeah, there's a lot of hot takes in this. And then number 1 is the original The Fast and the Furious.
Which makes sense.
Which makes sense based on what he was telling us. Yeah, that was really interesting. Thanks, Dustin, for sending in your list. He said he started at the beginning, so, 17 days of listening later, he heard this. And
maybe.
Thanks for sending your part of the...
I wonder what's more surprising, that 5 and 6 are so low, or given his taste, that 2 is so low.
I don't know, man. That's what I was thinking, too. 2 is very low for, what his bar was. I think 5 and 6 kind of, transcend this a lot, right? People still really like 5 and 6. I could see him having 1 really high, obviously, but, 4 being that high, 5 and 6 being super low, weird.
But thank you, Dustin, for sending those in. That's the first rankings we've had in a while. I think that's the first rankings we've had since Alex Ellenin sent his in at the beginning of this lap. So, yeah. Or whenever that was, whenever he, subscribed to us on Patreon and emailed in. But I'm just very excited because we are mere weeks away from your final officially updated after 5 laps ranking. So.
Oh, did I? I didn't do that yet?
No, you said after every 5 laps you're going to give me a new one.
I think I did it in my head. I did it an official one. I actually think I even wrote it down at one point for you. I have it somewhere. It's on a piece of paper floating around my house somewhere.
Well, we'll get to it when we get to it.
We'll get to it. And it'll probably be changed, so it doesn't even fucking matter if I find that piece of paper. So
if you are listening, you have not sent in your rankings, family@cageclub.me. Send in your top 5 Fast and Furious songs. Let us know what you think of the show. Just say hi, whatever, family@cageclub.me. Also, if you're listening, don't want to write a whole email, go to Apple Podcasts, go wherever you listen, give us 5 stars, write us a review, share with your friends, rate, review, subscribe, all that sort of fun stuff. 17 ratings, all 5 stars, no new reviews, but thank you all who have done that already. Always on the lookout for more. Joe, we have to go to On the Streets, the Fast and Furious news roundup. The big one, I think, is what we said.
Yeah.
Netflix animated series, Fast and Furious, whatever it's called. Fast and Furious Spy Racers coming out the day after Christmas. Animated series with, very cool, I think it's in a small part, but Vin Diesel's daughter does a voice in it.
Actual daughter. And Joey and I had a long description that he had to explain this to me.
You're I can't believe, he has 2 kids? Because he's got he's got, baby
and
Brian,
Joey's
and he's got his
what
daughter.
do you mean? I don't know how many kids he has. And we're well, he has the baby with Elena, and he's Vin Diesel's daughter. And I'm yeah.
I knew what you meant, because I know, when you were on Foodie Films with Chocolat, and I don't remember who you were talking about, I think you were confusing Meryl Streep with Helen Mirren. And,
I was, yeah.
Kyle, couldn't figure out, he couldn't parse through your brain, I don't know who you're talking about.
You got it.
And you were the other old white lady. And I was just I know exactly. I'm yelling at my phone, I know what you're talking about. But even in this case, I was just I know. I think he's confusing Vin and Dom. But I also cannot believe he's doing this.
Yeah, I use their names interchangeably in my head, so I was just assuming that Vin Diesel's daughter was Dom's daughter, and that we were acknowledging that he had a second child at some point, and that would fit into the scope of the Fastiverse.
Maybe he will in You Are My Lifespan. Who knows?
Who knows?
He's got another sister?
Yeah, he does. Who knows? I don't know.
Other news since we last recorded, there is a new Craig Lieberman video about Roman Pierce's Eclipse Spider and why it almost didn't happen. I don't know what it is yet because I have not watched the video yet. But did you watch the video or no?
No, I didn't, and I love the Craig Lieberman videos.
So that's another news thing. Let's see here. What else is there? Anything that you can think of that has happened as I scroll back on our Facebook feed?
No, Matt sent me an article the other day. I didn't even post it. It said like they're gonna finish the Fast and Furious at 10, but we've kind of already knew that, so it wasn't like real news.
That's the site that has been breaking news. Like that's the one that's
It's old
basically
though.
the Cinema Blend that like last summer was like, oh, all these people are, or this past summer, all these people are going to be in Hobbs and Shaw. That seems to be like the main go-to. But like
We've
Nico
heard
sent me
this.
that link too, and I was like, yeah, like that's not really news though. Like we knew that.
But they're like, it's gonna end at 10, but then spin-offs don't count, and we're like, okay, cool. So like, it doesn't really matter. Like, they're not giving us a definite like it's gonna end. They're just saying like there's only gonna be 10 in the Fastiverse. So
And this is what I was saying to Nico. Like they're like that's basically their end game, like their Avengers end game. Like that's
yeah,
that's where everything is going to end. But they would not stop making movies that make 500, 700 million, $1 billion or whatever, right? So
yeah, they're gonna make some version of it. Like we're gonna get the animated series. Like this has no end in sight. People are still buying it. People still love it like we do. So
we got nothing but time.
got nothing but time.
And I think that's all of the news that's fit to print. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's been anything else new. One of these episodes, we're gonna be like, oh, trailer dropped, but no, it still hasn't happened.
No, it hasn't yet. Definitely not.
Soon, probably, but
Yeah,
who
I
knows?
think very soon. We should be getting right. Probably like around Christmas time during the Christmas movies.
But they're starting to come out. You know what I mean? Like before Knives Out, it wasn't like I don't know. It just
No, I'm saying like the movies that are in theaters for Christmas.
that wave has begun slowly. Like it's not going to be before Frozen, but like we're in that sort of blockbustery thing now. I mean, maybe the movies that come out Christmas week, maybe,
That's
but
what I'm
like
saying.
we're
Yes.
in the. It wouldn't be surprising to happen now, and still not
That
yet. But
or Joey, remember last time the trailer broke during the Super Bowl, so that'd be February. But I think that's late.
yeah, that is late. I don't think that was the first trailer. I think that was like for Furious 7. I think they had one, and they had one for Hobbs and Shaw. Like I don't remember.
Yeah, I think, but one of like early trailers was in. I think you're right. I think it was the second trailer came out during the Super Bowl, and that's when I was like, "Don't watch it."
All right, we're going to do Rock the Vote, where I'm going to see on Google News if Dwayne Johnson is running for president. I searched The Rock president. Apparently, Donald Trump has said that public support for impeachment is, quote, dropping like a rock. Vox says he's using non-existent polls for that. And that's neither here nor there. Does not seem to have anything to do with Dwayne Johnson. I was to search Dwayne Johnson president. Will Black Adam include Henry Cavill's Superman? Here's what the producer said. But no news that The Rock is running for president yet. Still time.
Bloomberg just entered the race.
Bloomberg
so
entered the race. Yeah, there's time.
apparently we were off. Yeah, The Rock still got a shot, man.
All right, the last thing we have to do before the break, before we bring in Cara, is the Fast and Furious minute. Minute 24. I don't love the name, but this is also a weird kind of minute. I call this one the first scramble. What do you think of that name? Because like I don't know. Like this is a hard. I think this could be a hard minute to talk about.
Like split. Like the only thing I could think of, like, how about like step on it?
I mean, there's only one line of dialogue in this, and it's sort of quiet because it's like under the music, it's under the thing, but it's Jesse just saying, "Cops, get in the car, go, go."
Maybe get in the car, go go.
Maybe
The first scramble works too, but like get in the car, go go. I like. Yeah, that's probably better.
because all that happens in this minute, as you just heard, the police show up and the drivers scramble.
Yeah.
Like we see our family get into their cars and drive off, but like we don't follow any of them. We just kind of zoom out and just watch a whole like this is more cars driving around than we've seen through the first 23 minutes. Like this minute has the most cars in motion,
Hundreds.
maybe
yeah,
in this,
probably like
probably in this
hundreds.
entire movie, right?
Yeah, this is the gigantic car meetup breakup scene. But maybe Race Wars might have more at some points.
Like in terms of other scenes from other movies, there's race wars in this one.
Yeah.
There's the scramble at the end of 2. There's the hacking at the end of 8.
Yeah.
Or in the middle, not the
Cars
end of
out
8,
of
but
the
the middle of
garage.
8, right? But like there's not that many other scenes where like there's this many cars in motion.
Yeah, I can't imagine any.
What did you notice in this? Because there's no new clothing. The music is still the same. It's still the ditch the fuzz. I have a trivia question we can get to, but like, what did you notice? What did you catch this time around? What did you pick up sign wise in minute 24?
Oh, I actually have like a fun little tidbit first of a car. There's a ton of cars in this. One of the coolest things though is we get the first shot of a police car. And the police car is a 1991 Chevy Caprice. The license plate number is kind of blurry, but I think that I picked it out. I paused a couple times from different angles, and somebody on Internet Car Movie Database commented something that the funny thing is in the first scene, it's a Crown Victoria, but when he does the J turn, he turns around and it's a Caprice. And so, we always like the little Easter eggs, like Jenny mentioned with Drive, with the gauges being 0.
Yep.
Changing cars in the middle of a scene is always fun. Sign wise, though, we have some cool things. We're still in front of the UAS tire shop, right? We've talked
Mm-hmm.
about this. And I think we mentioned before, across the street was the Hawthorne Municipal Airport. And we see that like kind of hangar thing. At the Hawthorne Municipal Airport now, I found a picture, and it looks like that hangar now has like a giant Tesla logo over it. Did you open this?
Oh
It
yeah,
looks
yeah,
like
yeah.
it looks like it's the same one, but also it's weird, and I can't tell if that's like a different hangar in the airport and they all look the same, or if the airport like layout has changed. It's like now it's deeper inside of it because the streets have changed a little bit since the movie came out. The other thing we see that's important is that Dom drives by President's Apartments, which still fully exist. And they're located near 7th Street, which is the sign there. The sign is still on the side of the building, and I linked to it in the Google Maps so you can take a good look at President's Apartments. And I think that'd be really cool. Can you imagine if we lived in President's Apartments?
I'd rather live in 1327, but President's Apartment's not a bad follow up.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. All of us and all of our listeners can all get an apartment in President's Apartments. We can live on the same building. That'd be pretty cool. As there's like a lot of cars, and this is another one that's like blurry, so like there is street signs in the background, but like they purposely don't focus them so you can't read them, or license plates. And the last tidbit that I noticed this time, a lot of these cars don't have front license plates. And I
Okay.
feel like front license plates are becoming more common, right? Like I don't think they do it in
More common
Pennsylvania
or
yet.
less common?
More.
I guess I must be biased in this way because front has always been mandated in New Jersey because like I've grown up
Yeah.
with every car around having, so like when I don't see one, I'm like, oh wow. Me seeing front license plates just like, oh yeah, that's normal. Like it's the way that I see it. Like I think I told the story on this show before was that when I was driving cross country and I was driving across Kansas, I got pulled over by a cop because my front license plate was obscured by dead bugs. And I was like, I don't
Oh.
know why you're doing this because like it's not legally required in a lot of states.
Is it required in Kansas?
If you're from a state like Pennsylvania or whatever, right, where it's like you
Yes.
don't need to have one, like you don't have to put one on your car if you're in Kansas.
Yeah, because you can't get one. I think in California now you need to have front plates. That seems like a thing that you would need to have. I think I see it in a lot of California cars now. I always have this problem. A lot of the times, the cars that we get, even though we've moved here, my dad is like, has a rental car place and stuff. So and all of his friends have body shops, tow truck drivers, whatever. They find a lot of cars. He'll be like, hey, do you want to buy this car? And it's from Pennsylvania. I buy the car, I bring it here, and it never has a front plate attachment on it. And so I've gotten like in trouble in Connecticut because I have cars that will have a Connecticut back plate, but I won't have the like thing on the front to put the plate on.
Right.
And then I have to go buy this thing, install the thing, and put it on. And like I've had a cop stop me once and be like, you don't have a front plate, like here, it's like a $200 ticket. But I did just go buy the like, $20 attachment, put it on, and then I came to like the hearing thing, the traffic court, and was like, look, I put it on. And they were like, okay, we got rid of your ticket. I feel like in Connecticut now, probably Wells can tell us, but I feel like, sorry, in California now, it's mandated you have front plates. So it's weird to see all these cars without front plates. And I don't know if that's like a design choice,
It also might be a privacy thing for the movie.
but they don't even have like the mount. You know what I mean?
Oh.
It's not like they just didn't put it on. It's like, no, they just like purposely like don't like it's not part of the car, so it's weird to me.
So my trivia question for this one, and I don't know, this is a difficult one. Like this is something that like I would never know, and I don't think there's any way that you would know unless you're listening to this. But I don't know what
Mm.
else to ask here. One of the very visible signs in this is the cross street that's 120th Street. So I just wrote down what is the visible cross street bisecting the racing location? 90th Street, 120th Street, Main Street or Calabasas Avenue, which I don't know if it's a real place or not, but it sounds like a real place.
I think like the other street that's right near there is like Ventura Boulevard or something. Like,
All right, I'll do
I'm
that.
sorry because I was like looking through all the maps, but I think that sounds
All
no.
right.
I think that's a pretty good question actually. It's a tough one.
It's a wildly tough one.
Yeah, and I don't think you'd really like ever notice it. The only other thing I can imagine would be like, what is the model of the cop cars?
Both of them are just like, I'm just going to take a guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the 120th Street thing is pretty good though. That's cool.
Well, Joe, let's take a quick break. Let us hear Wes's interlude music, and we'll welcome in Cara to talk about Fast and Furious 6.
Welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. This is episode number 59, Fast and the Furious 6. And this episode is brought to you by U.S. Aviation Academy, usaviationacademy.com. They began operations in 2003, with their current owners acquiring the business in January 2006. U.S. Aviation Group operates two divisions, U.S. Aviation Academy, which operates two FAA and CAAC certificates from three training bases, U.S. Aviation Academy.
Well, shout out U.S. Aviation Academy with us tonight, taking flight lessons with us. We have had her on all lap. We're going to continue to have her on for another 4 episodes. We have, from Wistful Thinking, Cara Gael O'Regan. Hello, Cara.
Yo.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to Fast and Furious 6. Now, very important question. You broke my heart last time, and you said you listened to the episode. Did you follow instructions this time and stop as soon as the credits started?
Of course.
Good.
Good. Okay.
Okay, so a little bit of the mystery still remains.
A little bit.
That's the important thing.
You only spoiled a tangential point of it. Like, I was thinking about this later and talking to Joey about it, and I'm like, you really didn't ruin the whole thing. Like,
Let's not get into it again. I'm disappointed. I mean, there's more to it than what happened, but that's neither here nor there. I just want to make sure there was like a three-pronged approach, because the next episode that we're doing, the next core installment, the one with Cara, is going to be Tokyo Drift. We are going from this all the way back to Tokyo Drift, and we've never done this before. I think we're going to do it again in 2 laps with Nico and Kevo, just because I want to see if it, if we can do it in the full entirety. But I am glad that we have saved a little bit of the mystery that was never meant to never really meant to be a mystery when they started the franchise. But we have since retrofitted to be a mystery.
Well, knowing what I know about what happens actually added a little bit to watching this one. I'm like, oh, melancholy. Like, I knew that their love was, fated to be doomed. I didn't know how doomed and how soon. I had like this like melancholy towards the beginning of the movie when I see the two of them together, like, oh no.
I'm a citizen of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you got slammed in the face with that
what the
Gal
fuck?
Gadot death, right?
It's a rough one.
Do you think she's really dead, or do you think she's Letty dead? Because we've established we can bring characters back.
Sure. I mean, we didn't see the body, so
exactly.
It's anything's possible. Yeah. However, that looked like a way that you would die.
Yeah, she got engined.
Yeah.
So we were looking, and there's no either or questions left that apply here. There's none for this one. There's none for Tokyo Drift. We've got some for 7. We've got some for Fate, and we've got some for Hobbs and Shaw. But for now, there is no either or question, so we can't learn a little bit more about you through an either or question. However, we can learn a little bit more about you by your pick for the That's So Brian moment, brought to you by the former podcast. So, Joe, I was talking to our friend Liam Underwood.
Yes.
Nerd on Nerd podcast. He was on this very fine podcast a couple laps ago. And I was like, I sent him a Criterion video. Like, they had this guy made a Criterion video of like scenes, I think, from the first like 1,000 movies or whatever. And I was like, look, this seems on brand for you, because he's got the Criterion Crack podcast.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, Criterion Crack died. And I was like, no. And I was like,
really?
That is apparently how bad of a friend I am, that did not go. He's like, yeah, I bought all this fancy new podcast equipment and it all went away. Because we talked about the rise and fall of Nerd on Nerd.
Yes.
But Criterion Crack died as well. But I told him that his podcasting spirit lives on through the game that he recommended, the game that he created. That's So Brian. So, Cara, tell us a little bit about yourself. What would you pick in Fast and Furious 6? Before we talk about, I want to do a 2-part question. They are completely unrelated. What is your pick for the That's So Brian moment of the movie? And did you like this movie? Did hyping it up all lap long make you like it as much as we hoped you did? Or did it fall a little bit shy? Because we know how high you were on 5. So what do you think of this movie? And what's your pick for That's So Brian?
Okay, so I'm going to start with the That's So Brian question. First of all, I feel like that needs a theme song, like a little jingle that you can play every time
I
we
mean,
get
if
to the
somebody wants to
movie.
make one, we will play it.
That's So
It's
Brian.
true.
Did it, did it. Something like that.
Cool, cool.
I actually wrote down two most Brian moments. One
Oh, okay.
is after he and Dom go to a pawn shop for some reason and beat everyone
Mm-hmm.
up inside.
They're looking for the gun. They're
Yes.
looking for the specific gun.
Right. And then they walk out and just very casually as he's walking, I'm pretty sure he like steps over a body as he's doing this. He like just flips the open sign closed and just says, "Take care, guys." Just so casually. And then the other one was like kind of a runner up is that he says, "Oh, sorry about this," and then like punches a guy in the dick. He's like, again, like this has happened multiple times. We've seen this happen multiple times. So those are my two That's So Brian moments.
Cool.
I wasn't even thinking about it, but I have one that like really registered with me as soon as we like I didn't have one prepared, but I have one in my head now that's definitely like my That's So Brian moment. Dom gets the Letty pictures from Hobbs, right? And then Dom goes to show them to Brian, and Brian's just like instantly dismissive of it.
No. Oh, come
He's
on. No, he's like,
He's like, I'm a cop. I used to do this all the
Yeah.
time. Those aren't real.
Yeah.
Dom's like, dude, it's like if Letty's even possibly alive, you know we need to go look for her, right? And then Brian's like, I guess.
I don't know. I feel like that's the most honest he's been through this entire franchise. Is
That's what I mean. It's That's So Brian. Like it's
okay.
just yeah.
Yeah.
Look, like I would have lied to you about this, and you're like,
Oh,
like
okay. Yeah. I didn't really see it like that. I just like, to me, it just seemed like his gut reaction, but I didn't think about it in terms of like, oh, that's totally something I would do. Like, that's what he was
yeah,
thinking.
yeah, exactly. So that's why I was like, oh man, that's a really good Brian moment.
Well, before I get to the ham-fisted second half of the question that I asked Kara, I want to say that that whole thing that like I feel like the most Brian character in this movie is Hobbs. I feel like Hobbs
Yes,
is doing a lot of
absolutely.
things that are early
Yes.
Brian. Like I think I think you're gonna want to see this, and then slides the picture of like that whole like the inception, the beginning of that, I think is a very Brian thing to do. I think the fact that he beats the shit out of fake that bozo Vin Diesel, bozo Dom Toretto, is kind of a Brian move, right? I think
Yes.
that there's a lot that Hobbs is doing here that is imitating, emulating shades of early Brian O'Connor. I know that, Carrie, you don't agree with me in that Brian is sort of mellowing out, or at least not as of last movie. I do think that we're getting a new, more mellow Brian. Fatherhood
We are.
is
Yeah.
treating him well. I think that as he sort of eases into the second half of his life, the second act of his life, I think that we are getting other characters to fill that Brian void. Hobbs specifically saying, we need a crew, and then Gina Carano's like, how are you going to get him? He's like, in fact, he's gonna beg me about Don Toretto. He's gonna beg me to join. And they're like, well, what? But like, just the fact that he's so confident, like, oh, I know exactly how to play this guy. I think that's a very Brian moment. And then Brian again dismissing, I think, Joe, what you said about, I used to do all this shit all the time just as a cop.
Just befriending criminals, though. But you know what I mean? Like at the core of it, just like using criminals for help.
Yes,
It's like
exactly.
it's like the most Brian thing you can do, right? Like that's exactly what the Brian that is Brian.
Similarly, the handshake, the Hobbs handshake, when he like gets his way through sheer force, I think it's again kind of manipulating, going outside the bounds of what traditional copping normally would. Using
Yeah.
your tools to your advantage, but also kind of underhanding a little bit. The other cop one is when he breaks Stasiak's nose again. When Brian breaks Stasiak's nose again, I think that's just throwback to classic vintage Brian.
Oh, he punches him in the nose, not in the dick. Is
Yes.
that okay? That's
Yes.
what I was thinking of.
He breaks his nose because in
Yeah.
4 he broke his nose, and that's why he's like again, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kicking someone or punching someone on the dick is so in the purview of Brian O'Connor
Yeah.
that I didn't
Yeah.
question.
Of
Like,
course.
it absolutely could have
It's
been
yeah,
something
it's the
that
same
happened.
thing. Yeah.
I think my number one pick though, the final thing that I wrote down, the fifth moment, the That's O'Brien moment. I think it's when at the very very end, happy ending of the movie, the coda, right? They save the day, they get 1327 back. They're all there for the family barbecue. Hobbs shows up, Hobbs leaves. They all sit
Yes.
down. Roman takes a
Yes.
bite. And then Brian, classic narc, says, he's got grace. House rules, man. House rules. It's like,
Yeah, what a
bro,
narc.
relax. I know that this is a thing. Like, we go back all the way to the first movie where we're like, is this something that they know or that they don't know? Because it's like they're teaching the audience, but they're also teaching Brian what the rules are. But, like, it's just
Yes.
Brian as, like, a goody two shoes, like, brown nose. You're like, oh, look what he did. Dad, look what he did. Dad, make Roman say grace. Dad.
The way that Brian delivers the like, I would have done this to you as like a cop too. This fits into the like Brian's in love with Dom. Like he doesn't even want her to. He doesn't even want him to get Letty back. You know what I mean? He's like, no, like she's probably dead still. We buried her. Come on. And he's like, dude, like that's like the love of my life. And he's like, ah. But it's the same thing. Like he's just like, please, no, don't give anyone else attention, or like, please, just give me all of the attention.
One more moment that occurred to me that's
Okay.
Brian is at the very beginning of the movie. They are both notably older and more haggard. Like the extreme close-ups of his face and Dom's
They
face.
are.
I was like, ooh, yikes. Something has happened. Time has elapsed.
And it's only been 2 years
Yeah.
in real life.
Also, I have a question about when this movie is supposed to be happening, but we can get to that later.
Right now, everything is in real time.
Okay.
Like, once 4 happened and sort of changed the way, like, from 4 on, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like, Hobbs is a little bit different because I don't know if we really know, Joe, when Hobbs.
No, there's no like there's no timestamps to like even give us clues.
Right.
Yeah.
But 4, 5,
It's
6,
like
7,
it's like sometime after 8.
Yes.
Hobbs takes
Yeah.
place, right? They exist together in the same world.
Shaw the bad guy in this movie?
So, I cannot say.
Okay.
But Shaw is the bad guy in this movie.
Is Owen Shaw
Correct.
in this movie.
Okay.
I don't even know. There are so many Shaws you don't know about yet. Like, legitimately more Shaws than almost every other character combined. There are so many Shaws, and they're all wonderful. Like, this is by far the least
worst.
interesting of the Shaws.
Yeah, he's the
Great,
least Shaw.
'cause-
And he's not bad. Like, he's fine. He's good.
He's
No.
fine. Yeah, but as far as like villains in these movies go, he was a little lackluster.
Oh, but just wait. I mean, 3's got a cool villain. 7's got a really cool villain. 8's got a bum of a villain. 9's got a pretty cool villain.
All right.
Yeah.
The big moment. We've been saying all lap long, basically our thesis for this entire thing, in terms of like people, how much people like these movies. 5 and 6 sort of stand above the rest. They're like 1 and 2 on almost everybody's list, unless
Yeah.
you really, really love the early car movies. 5 and 6 are the top 2. Do you agree with that, or is 6?
Oh, I wasn't done with my That's So Brian.
Oh, you have another That's O'Brien?
Yeah, I was getting to it. I just
Oh, go.
we got-
I'm so sorry. Go.
No, I got a little derailed. Yeah, so at the very beginning, he and Dom are like racing, and then you find out they were racing to the birth of his child. Brian, you're a father now. You can't do this shit. You got to be more cautious.
Like you didn't know that it was almost time for her to give birth, that you guys are like dicking around on a mountain somewhere.
Well,
I'm willing to believe that they were off doing something somewhere else. And then she goes into labor, and then they're like, no one should be driving that fast, first of all. Which,
True.
it's a little late in the franchise for me to be taking a stand on driving too fast. Also, this franchise is called Fast and Furious.
Fast.
Yeah, no, I was like, Brian, come on.
so narratively, that is supposed to. I think it's supposed to be like a little bit of a fake out because
Yeah.
at the end of the last movie, Brian and Dom are talking, and they're like, we're going to go race. We're going to see who, for once and for all, who the real fastest
After the
driver
$1 Million
is.
Mile,
Yes.
Brian thinks, everybody told Brian that Dom pumped the brakes to let him win because he was going to be a dad. That movie ends with them like starting the
Right.
race.
And so I think this is sort of a page out of the Rocky playbook. Literally, almost every Rocky movie starts with the end of the previous movie.
Right.
2 starts at the end
Yes.
of 1, 3 starts at the end of 2, 4 starts at the end of 3. And there is, through the mythology of this, there are the 3 Rocky Apollo fights. There's the one in Rocky 1, there's the one in Rocky 2, and then there's the secret one where just them in a gym at the end of 3 that starts at the beginning of 4. And so in Creed, when Adonis shows up to Rocky's restaurant in Philadelphia, he's like, hey, who won that fight between you and my dad for the 3rd time? In the world of the Fast and the Furious, Dom and Brian don't race against each other all that much. They race in the first movie. They race in the 4th movie
Yes.
where Dom taps his fender and spins him out. And then there's the $1 Million Quarter Mile where Dom lets Brian win. So this is supposed to be, I think, at the end of 5, like really, Dom's won most of them, but sometimes he cheated, sometimes he like let him, whatever. But like this is supposed to be like, who's it going to be? And so I think the idea here, narratively, is to get you thinking this is immediately after 5. This is the race that we've been waiting for. Like 2 years have gone by in real life. Who's going to win this race? And then, spoiler, twist, it's the baby.
Right.
Yeah, don't forget, she was pregnant. That was the whole
Yeah.
point of the last one. Reminder.
However, Elena not really anywhere to be found in this movie. So,
She is.
I mean,
Just at the
Barely.
beginning.
where the last movie wound up to where we are here, things have happened in the last 2 years. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
In the history of the franchise, pretty much everybody, or in the history of the podcast, our short history, basically everyone who has ranked these movies, including me, including Joe, I think, have 5 and 6 as their top two in some order. Five and then
Yep.
six then five. Aside from the people who really love the early movies, 5 and 6 kind of stand above the rest. Like five is where they take the franchise to another level, and 6 is where they kind of blow it up and make it really big. Not saying that 7 and 8 and everything are much worse, but 5 and 6 are sort of head and shoulders above the rest. Do
Yeah.
you agree, or did this fall shy, or is this your favorite by a mile? Where do you fall with Fast and Furious 6?
I think I fall with everyone else.
Cool?
Yeah, it's hard to not like really enjoy 5 and 6.
Yeah.
So if you liked big explosion fun time, then this is like it, right? Like jumping into a plane, like that's as crazy as you get. Like, did you imagine they were gonna jump into a plane?
After that last one, I was like, literally anything can happen. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a tank in this one. You jump into a plane.
I'm sorry, did you say they have a tank?
I still feel like what they actually do in 5 with the safes is crazier than what happened in this movie.
No, really?
Yeah, because it's just crazy. Like the fact that it's
Killing
like
civilians.
well, yeah. And don't worry, plenty of civilians died in this one too. But just, traveling over land that distance, whereas I feel like that just was a crazy thing they did.
When I think of this film, I think of one thing, and it's specifically how long the runway is.
Yes, I was about to say something about that. Surely, like, all of these things are happening. Like, we see it sequentially that, like, we see these people doing this thing, and then
Right.
these people are doing this thing, and then
Yes.
but surely all of these things are happening at once, and it just seems like it's going on for much longer than it is, right? That's what it is. Or it's just the longest runway in human history.
The joke is that like this movie just has the world's longest runway. There's like a bunch of memes and stuff about like, they'll have like a picture of Europe and there'll be like a road that travels like all the way across Europe and it's like the runway in Fast and the Furious 6, Cuz they're on it for like 20 minutes. But yeah, we could assume that it's all happening at the same time, but the shot is 20 minutes worth of runwaying for them.
A lot going down there.
Because what we learned either last lap or 2 laps ago is this is actually 2 movies in one. That I think that they had
Yeah.
the action sequence where they're on the bridge with the tank was going to be the end of one movie. And then the runway, I think, was going to be the end of the other movie. And they just, for whatever reason,
Why not
combined the
both?
two. And they combined the two into this grand scale movie that's kind of a mishmash of two wild different action sequences to end things. There's a reason I think that there's a lot of crazy here because like sometimes I feel like even I think we've talked about this maybe like when you know that the runway is coming, but like after there's that tank sequence and they all go back and there's like that decompression kind of like the end of 5 where it's like
It
all right,
feels like that's the
all right
end.
guys, like we did it, like cool. And then it's like oh wait no, there's still another 40 minutes of this movie and still like one of the craziest action set pieces in the entire franchise.
Yeah, one of the first times I saw this, like when after we did the tank scene, I was like, "Whoof, that was a good movie. Good job, Fast and Furious." And they were like, "Nope, we're going to the runway." I was like, "Holy shit! Like, how do you have more of this movie still?" Yeah, I was still confused by how much it was.
So now, Kara, some very important questions that I'm going to ask my questions first, and then we're going to get to Jordan's as well.
Okay.
Did you, first, speaking of that bridge scene, did you love, did you cry? How did you feel? What kind of feelings did you feel when Dom, takes things on faith and
Midair.
catches Letty in midair?
Oh, I mean, hits you in the chest as hard as a 200-pound man hurtling through you. Like,
He's like 3. He's like
yeah, I don't
3
even know.
at least.
He's huge. Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine getting hit with somebody like that? It's like
Well,
a
no, he tucks you and
football
cradles you
thing.
like a baby over him.
Yeah.
And then he smashes into the car.
How'd you know there's
I
going to be a
don't know
car
about that.
there? I didn't. Some things you just need to take on
Yeah.
faith.
Is that the most romantic scene in Fast and the Furious so far for you? I think that's
No,
probably the most
I
romantic
think-
scene in Fast and the Furious.
Well, I just like Los Bandoleros a lot when they're like,
Okay,
everyone's just
yeah.
hanging out and they're like fucking in the cave. I think that's romantic.
I think that shows like a brilliant distinction, or like that my thought of the most romantic scene would be Dom catching her mid-air,
Mine
like
is
car flight,
having
and
sex
yours is
in a
fucking
cave.
in a cave. Yeah, the disparity there is great. Like very vastly different scenes.
I was wondering in this movie while watching it this time, because there's a lot of Dom Letty scenes, but really, okay, we sort of completed the. I mean, without spoiling too much, Kara, we've kind of completed the Letty journey. Like Letty's in the future movies, but like Letty is she's sort of back to regular Letty now. Like we've gone from her getting killed very early in 4, being gone all of
Yes.
5, being sort of a villain in 6. She's now back with the family, and there's not really more Letty twists. I'm sort of spoiling that a little bit. That said, given that this franchise kind of feels like the Dom and Letty show at times, there's not a lot of Dom and Letty interactions. I feel like it's a scene that we've talked about a lot, Joe, but when he's explaining her scars to her, I feel
When he
like
races
even
her
though
memory back into her.
that's not really quite Letty, like it's still Letty is in there, but she's still remembering. I kind of feel like that might be like the Dom and Letty scene. Because it's like the
Ooh.
history, it's the intimacy. They're not fucking, but there's all the sexual tension in the world there. Like, it feels like that lengthy scene kind of feels like the moment to sort of define the two of them together. And I want to know your thoughts on that.
You're right. It's weird because she doesn't remember it, but you can see that like she has some comfort there. She's playing coy, but it doesn't she doesn't feel in danger. Like she still trusts him even though she shouldn't at that moment. So yeah, that is a really good Dom and Letty scene for that perspective. I do like the idea that Dom has to race her memory back into it. We've talked about that. Like the act of like him racing her for her to begin to remember is so poetic.
I find it kind of invasive. That
In a sexy way?
no, not really.
Like it's creepy like if she didn't remember him.
Yeah, I mean, just put yourself in that situation. Like, let's
Yeah.
say you've had a brain injury, or something so traumatic has happened to your brain. It's like, nope, we're just not going to remember anything. And then somebody comes to you and is like, all of these scars on your body that you don't even know how you got. I know how you got them. I don't know. I don't like it. I find
Yeah,
it very
it
uncomfortable.
definitely would be very creepy if we didn't know that he was coming from like the most gentle, loving place.
Right.
If we didn't have a history where like we knew Dom and like the character evolution between them, it would be really fucking weird. If we had, is this is the first scene we ever saw Dom in, and he just shows up and starts pointing to Letty scars, you'd be like, "This is a sexual predator. Get him the
Yeah.
fuck away from her." But
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess if you're seeing the
yeah,
scene from Letty's perspective, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
who is
yes,
this man? But knowing Dom, and knowing
petrifying.
Dom is like the biggest teddy bear in the world, I think there's a different
That like
kind
wants to
of
murder
reading of that
everyone
scene.
for Letty.
There's like a certain kind of like ownership implied over like the fact that he
Mm.
has so much knowledge of her, so much more knowledge of her than she even has. There's like a certain power disparity there, and like a certain kind of ownership that he seems to feel over her and her body that I'm just uncomfortable with.
Now, I guess
Interesting.
a question would be in that situation, if you are Dom and the woman that you love more than anything in the world is standing
I
in
mean,
front
it's
of
a
you.
fucked up situation. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't know if anyone would know how to act right in that situation. I don't even know what the right thing is, you know?
Right.
I see your point, but he also doesn't. He never like traps her or like kidnaps her, right? Like, oh no, you need to come back to me. He's always like, go ahead, go do your own thing, but like, know that I know everything.
Yeah.
Which is creepy in its own right, but at the same time, it's like if he really wanted to be weird, he could have been like, "You're coming with me. We're going home," and she'd have been like, "What the fuck?"
To come back from a traumatic event and have no memory of who you are, where you're from, or like anything like that is like an incredibly vulnerable position to be in.
True.
And like
Yeah.
we even see her get sexually harassed by her boss.
Oh, yeah, good point. It was such a passive, weird thing to me. I've never
Yeah.
like really put myself in her shoes because, yeah, that's interesting.
So it's just like she's in a very vulnerable position. And on the one hand, it's like comforting that like, oh, well, at least somebody knows something about me, you know.
Fair,
And
yeah.
then on the other hand, you know, she exists in this world of criminals who like have shown her who they are, that they're callous and have no concern over them except if they want to treat them like possessions. Like her boss kind of approaches her in that kind of way.
Yeah, everybody's taking advantage of her. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So just, you know,
And I think that's
a
laid
little
out
perspective
explicitly
there.
here, right? Like that's the very big difference between
Hmm.
Shaw and Dom, is that there's that whole speech about like Shaw's like my men, my team is replaceable, right? Like it's always the means to an
Hmm.
end, and Dom is like no,
Hmm.
family's family. And I think that there might be that kind of extreme discrepancy there, both narratively, but also just to sort of highlight like in a way like kind of how special the family is. You know what I mean? Like it's that these are criminals, but they're also there's a code, and I think the fact that going back all the way to 4, Brian's still trying to figure out what his code is, right? Like
Yes.
he
Yeah.
knows that there needs to be something more. Like he can't just be a vigilante, because if you have that, like, what separates you from just, like, a regular person you would put away? But here, just the showdown between Shaw and Dom. Shaw's like, no, this means to an end. Dom's like, no, like, family's family. And even if Letty's not exactly sure who she was, I think the choice between these two men, both not perfect, both flawed in some way, one seems good, or at least more good than the other, I think, kind of clearly.
Sure.
That makes sense. Yeah, you're right. Like I would take the criminal who believes in honor over the criminal that believes in profits, right?
Also, it seems like he has funnier friends.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Dom? Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
like if you're gonna get stuck hanging out with a criminal and his friends, like,
The other guys are so serious. It's like a job. It doesn't feel right.
Well, I feel like because they have no job security. They're just like, oh no, we could get killed at any point.
yeah, not just job security, but like literally their lives are expendable.
Exactly. They probably don't have benefits or anything.
Oh,
Nobody
they
has healthcare.
definitely do not have health insurance. Although they're in Europe, so who
They
knows?
might, yeah.
Things are covered. Things are fine.
Fuck. Americans. God damn it. Like, everywhere else would be like, what are you talking about? You brought up his friends are funnier. We're on the progression now where Roman becomes, as Joey describes it, more of a caricature of himself. How do you feel about the Romanisms in this movie and
Love
the
'em.
move towards being more of a literal Joker?
I mean, his buddy comedy with Tej in this movie, like they could have their own spin-off movie of just like the two of them riffing on each other.
Don't get us all excited. I could definitely get into that.
The whole thing with the chips, like Han has a bag of chips, and then Roman's like, "Yo, let me get some of those," and then he's all out, and then that whole scene made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, when he shoots the harpoon through the thing.
Yeah. Well, the Nas reveal on that made me actually laugh out loud.
You know what the fans want. They got to see that Nas.
It was truly artful how they integrated that.
Yeah, do you think like somebody was like in the set design parts? Man, like we're not gonna have any Nas in these cars. And they're like, can we throw a scene in with Nas? And they're like, how about we just like shoot a harpoon made of Nas?
Yeah, I love it. It actually like ruined it a little bit for me that there was a car Nas application like later in the movie, and I was like, I feel it would have been so much stronger if it was just the
Just on
Nas
its own.
harpoon. Yeah.
Now, the big reveal in this movie. Did you see Gina Carano as a villain coming when he says, "You coming, babe?" And she says, "Of course."
I mean, not really. There was something odd about her character, and I wasn't sure if it was just like, is she a bad actress, or because I've
Ooh.
seen her do blood sports, but I haven't seen her act in anything
Well, I've been
before.
preaching
Okay.
to Joe because he keeps calling her fake Ronda Rousey because he doesn't know how.
Yes.
He refuses to learn her name.
Gina Carano.
Thank you. I keep saying to him, watch Haywire. Steven Soderbergh made Haywire. She stars in that movie.
Oh, okay.
Incredible. She's so goddamn good in
I
that
haven't
movie.
seen that one. Okay, I'll check that out.
It's great.
I spent this entire movie thinking that Gina Carano that she was in BoJack Horseman because
What?
there was a character in the last couple seasons named Gina Cazador. She's like on this detective drama with BoJack
Oh, yeah,
on the
yeah.
show within
Mhm.
the show.
Ah, okay.
And I thought that was her, but that's just Stephanie Beatrice.
Well, I feel like Stephanie Beatrice, not to get completely off tangent here, has completely shifted the way that like she's viewed in the world because her voice as Rosa Diaz is nothing like her actual voice, and so thinking of who she is versus who Diaz, like, because like in my brain she's Diaz. It might be similar personality wise, I don't know, but like just voice wise, like the way she presents herself is not that at all. So I have a very wild association with her in my brain, but I think that would have been cool. I don't know what else. Gina Carano was in a movie called In the Blood, which is not great, but Haywire is definitely worth seeking out because Haywire is awesome. In 5, they make such a big deal about Hobbs handpicking Elena, right? Like in a city
And
full of
she's such a
corrupt
good
cops,
pick.
She's the only one that he can trust. And I think here having his handpicked sidekick be a villain is sort of the last thing you would expect.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that he would have done his due diligence, in picking his assistant, but
Yeah, they trust. You have a sense of trust of his judgment now.
I know Not at all. I don't
Of
trust his
Hobbs?
no. That is a
Really?
person with very bad judgment. Are you kidding me? Are you
Why?
kidding me? He just will willingly shoot people at point blank range because they're like in his way. And literally
They're
everything that guy
criminals.
does is a war crime, at least.
He's above the law.
Yeah, that's a person with poor judgment.
His judge of character, his moral compass
No,
seems
his
okay.
his moral compass is all sorts of fakakta. I don't know what his deal is, but nah.
That's what the sense that I get, especially coming from the last movie, that like he let Dom and Brian get away because he has like a code. He handpicked Elena. She was the only good cop in Rio. Like we're like they were establishing that like although he might do interesting things that you might not agree with,
Judicial things.
extrajudicial things, he's like a good judge of character.
So it's interesting that you say that, which made me think that maybe I still don't think that he's a good judge of character at all, but I think that his encounter with this crew has kind of scrambled his compass, which he previously thought was impervious to influence, you know?
Yep.
And he had this very good guys, bad guys,
Black and white.
black and white thinking that
Old
you need to
Testament. Old
have a job
Testament
like
type.
that. Exactly. Now he's realizing that, like, oh, just because people do crimes doesn't make them bad. You know, so he's seeing these shades of gray, and that can get people really confused if they're used to operating in such a black and white world.
That's Brian's arc, right?
Yeah.
Like Brian starts out the exact same way. He's like, I'm a cop, they're bad, and then he's like, oh, there's some gray in here. And so like Hobbs is just kind of like following that, like criminals can be good guys too.
Cara, did you like Hobbs any more in this movie? I know that you were not really a huge fan of his character, of The Rock's character Hobbs in 5. Did you like him more? Is he more of a person to you now, or is he still low on your
He's
favorite character
actually
list?
less of a person.
Really?
He's less of a person.
Okay.
It's
Why?
such a cartoon character. Like the way that
Well,
he's
he
able
is
to
The
like
Rock.
jump and like do all of these crazy things, and he's just so exaggerated.
But like personality wise.
Even personality wise, yeah. It just no, I fuck that guy still.
Well, in 7, something will happen where you will be like, oh, he's actually a person. Then in 8 and beyond, he's really much more animated and more of a character and stuff like that. But I think there's a marked jump from 5 to 6. I can still see where you're coming from, but I think that there's where he was to where he is now. I think it's much more. He's more well. I think that both the way that The Rock is portraying him, yeah,
Actor-wise.
and the way that they're writing him, I feel like is less of a two-dimensional character. I don't want to say he's maybe fully three-dimensional yet, but I feel like where he came from, Old Testament, like you were saying,
Yeah.
Joe, to being where he is
Yeah.
now, I feel like there's a shift, there's a growth there for sure, at least in my eyes.
It's slightly more dimensional, sure.
All right, we're gonna go to
Yeah,
the
I
phone
like
lines.
it.
Real quick question
Go
for
ahead.
you. Jordan wants to know. Actually, this is something that she talked about on her lap, and I feel like we tried to. I feel like I have an answer, but I don't know. It definitely did not satisfy Jordan. She wants to know in the first sequence, right? Like in the movie starts, Hobbs and Gina Carano are in Russia, right? And they see the car in the building. They interview
Yes.
Bobo Dom Toretto. They're like, we need Shaw. Hobbs says, I know exactly the crew. They bring in our family. Family goes and they try to take down the racers. Jordan is still looking for an answer. Why do they need our family to help in that case? I have an answer, but before I taint your mind with my answer, I want to know what you think. Like, aside from just the fact that like this is a Fast and Furious movie and they need to be like, why do they need to call in our
Criminals.
family for this specific case?
Specifically these criminals, yeah.
Because it's a Fast and the Furious movie and they all need to be in it. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
Joe, have you thought any
Either
more
of them.
about this? Do you remember talking about this with Jordan?
I do, and it's because he says like they're the only people that are as hard to find as Shaw is. It's kind of the like to be the guy, you have to catch the guy type of thing, or you're like you have to catch the guy, you have to be the guy.
Right.
Type, you know what I mean? Like he like needs the mindset of the criminal hiding to find the criminal hiding. So he's like, "Oh, let me go get these guys," and then they'll just instantly know where he is.
I think that's part of it. I think there's 3 parts. I think that's number 1.
Go ahead.
I think number 2 is
Okay.
they need a crew that is. Well, I guess there's 4 parts really. Number 2 is they need a crew that is good with cars.
He's good with cars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's clearly something going on here that the car winds up in a building. The whole beginning of this movie is a fake out to be like, oh, Don was arrested. This is our crew. Something's going wrong, right? But no, it's just another thing.
Yes.
But this crew, Number 2 is this crew is good with cars. They need another crew with cars. Number 3, it's something small, but I think that these guys kind of sort of owe Hobbs a favor.
True. That's a good point. Yeah, they do. He has one in the bag with them. I think so.
But I
too.
think the slam dunk obvious number 1 answer is Letty is with Shaw, and he knows he can use that leverage to get this family in.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly why.
Right?
That's it. Yeah, he's like, oh, they owe me a favor, but then plus if I show them Letty's in it, they're gonna do it without even me coaxing them or forcing them to do
Like,
it.
they might not
Yeah.
be
Yes.
the number 1 most qualified group, but in terms of all the things that they are, like we just listed, they check all those boxes, and the fact that Dom will do whatever it takes to get Letty back.
Yeah, they're the best fit.
Exactly.
They're not the most qualified, but they're the
Leverage.
best fit. That makes plenty of sense. Yeah, I totally forgot. I mean, like, and he shows up with the Letty pictures, so he knows that she's there.
Yeah.
Well, we know
It's
that he
perfect.
knows that at the end of the last movie because of the
Exactly.
credit sequence.
Except we don't. Well, because you're supposed to forget because it's 2 years between.
I did forget, so.
And it was two,
It was 2
weeks,
weeks.
between. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very good question, and I'm glad we sussed that out. I think that that's a very succinct answer. And I mean, again, I don't know how much she'd like it, but that pretty much encompasses all of it, and I can't come up with anything else or better than that.
I don't know if we mentioned Letty before, but I think that's the obvious, like, that's why. Like,
That's the
it's,
key. That's the cornerstone of it. Yep.
like in the Pepe Sylvia map of Hobbs in his office, like, who can we get here? Like, it's just like Letty's pictures in the middle, and
In the
there's
middle.
strings all
Yeah,
around.
Every string. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
I guess 2 of Jordan's questions can be summed up by what about this movie made you cry? Because there's 2 things she wants to know if specifically if you cried about, but let's talk about what made you cry in this movie.
Yeah, so I definitely cried when I forget when exactly it was, but it was Han and Giselle who actually got a name in this one. Did you notice they actually said her name when she died?
Finally.
They
Yeah.
say Giselle at least one other time earlier in the movie too, but yes.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, oh, she died, and they finally said her name. Yeah, somewhere early in the movie, maybe when they're talking about like thinking about settling down, or maybe going to Tokyo or whatever. And I was like, oh, these 2 extremely hot people aren't going to get to follow their dreams together because at least one of them is going to die. Who knew it was
But
going to be 2?
spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got flipped. It did flip the script on you.
Yeah, and so
And
I
so-
definitely died I definitely died. I definitely cried at the end when she died. I was probably already crying because when he was like, "Don't worry, I got you." I cried a lot at the end.
Okay.
It was just like a rolling cry through the end.
Well, the scene that I said to Joe, I'm like, there's a new part of this movie. Like, I don't know if this movie has ever made me cry. Maybe. I don't know. It's 50-50. It's on the
Okay.
cusp. I don't remember. But that scene that you were just mentioning when they're like, everything goes well at the bridge and they're like, we're going to go to Tokyo. And I was like, they're never going to have that. Like, I know that before, but like, something
Yeah.
about that melancholy here, that
Yeah.
word that you used before, Cara, like, that was just something that this time I was just like, shit, like, it's not going to happen.
I cried when they got back to the warehouse after they like retrieve Letty. Mia sees her and starts crying, and that made me cry.
Did you ever see this tweet that's like husband takes track of like all the times wife cries and writes them down? And it's like realizes penguins can be gay. Like realizes she's not a gay penguin. Seeing Mia cry because she sees Letty come back made
Oh,
you cry.
seeing other people cry is actually like one of my biggest crying triggers.
Triggers? Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
man.
yeah. I don't know what
It's like
sort
vomiting.
of like weird mirror neurons. Yeah, that I just like I see somebody cry and then I'm like, oh god. Also, I just find like reunions very powerful in general. So
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
okay,
But
now
the
I'm
cry
done.
by association I like. That's a transitive cry.
Transitive cry.
Another one that Jordan specifically wanted to know about was whether you cried when Dom gives that speech to Letty that we were talking about before.
The scar one.
Creepy
Yes.
one.
I don't know. I might have been crying. Just because I thought it was creepy doesn't mean it didn't make me cry. I don't feel entirely that it's creepy. Like, it's also very intimate and very touching. It just,
If you think about it from outside.
right. Or
it's
not
like-
from outside, from inside, just from the other person's perspective.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, that's what I
ugh.
mean. Yeah.
On the flip side, do you know Jordan's favorite moment or favorite line? It's both things. Favorite moment, favorite line from this movie.
I don't know.
Hmm.
We need more alphabets.
No, it's not that. That's a good line. Her favorite moment in this movie, at the very, very end when they're at the barbecue, and
Yeah.
Hobbs shows up, and Roman says, better hide the baby
Better hide
oil.
that baby oil.
And Hobbs improvs, you better hide that big ass forehead, and Tej does a gigantic spit take. it's up there for Jordan. I don't want to put words in her mouth, but it's up there for Jordan in terms of like favorite movie things alongside hot dogs. Like it's
Oh wow.
she loves
I
this
love a spit
scene.
take.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's a wonderful scene.
I think it's top tier. It's probably like one of the only ones that still gets me to laugh out loud in a Fast and the Furious. Like the like really hits every time. Like that level of comedy. Like every time I see it, I'm just like, oh fuck, and I laugh.
Yeah, I love in that scene how Dom and Hobbs like cannot look at each other while they compliment each other. They're just like standing there staring straight ahead, but like, just standing far enough apart that staring straight ahead, it means that they're not actually looking at each other and being like, that was pretty good, that thing you did.
There's a scene at the beginning of the movie. Hobbs goes and finds Dom, and it feels like they're not even talking to each other. Like
Yeah.
if you separated the conversations, like they're not responding to the other He's like, "There's no extradition here," and he's like, "I'm not here to extradite you." He's like, "It's been a long time," and he's like. He's
Like
like, are you fucking listening, Dom? Like, you're not even hearing anything that this man is saying to you.
they shot it on separate days.
Yeah, that's what it
Not
really
even
feels
in the same
disjointed.
shot.
I think the only other question that she really has is how long, what do you think the time span, the time frame of this movie from start to finish is?
Oh, who
Ooh.
knows? Maybe a week? 3 days?
I don't even think it's a week. I think it's way shorter than a week.
Interesting.
No, I would say about a week because there's some traveling involved.
Yeah, Brian has to go to prison.
He comes
I
back to
completely
America. That's
forgot
like at
about
least,
that part. Oh my god.
and we'd assume that the prison that he goes to is in California, right?
Oh, it
Yeah.
definitely is.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like at least a fucking
9-hour
16-hour
flight? Yeah.
No, more
Yeah.
because like from
You're right.
London
It's probably
to
11. I
the
think it's 11. If it's
East
nonstop, it's
Coast.
11.
So okay, so it's a day to get there and back. That's a whole day without even fighting through prison stuff like that.
I feel like the interesting thing is that aside from the travel, this basically all takes place. Like if you remove the travel, it's like 18 hours. Like everything that happens is like all like very compressed. It's just that there's a little bit of time in between just to sort of necessitate getting the information from Braga, getting everybody to London. But I feel like the action all there, like once the ball is rolling, I think it's all very, very quick and very all, tightly wound, tightly knit.
Yeah, that would make sense though. Chaos would happen
Sure.
like in one giant bunch.
If I could circle back around to my question about when this happens, when they go to the car party in this one, because there's a car party in every movie, apparently.
With Rita Ora.
You mean the sale with Tej
It's a
and
car
Hobbs?
party with car skanks.
No,
right?
the Rita Ora, not the car sale. The
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's the prelude. It's when Dom and Letty
Pre-race.
race. Yeah.
The pre-race. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought the car party was you were talking about. They were like when Tej goes and buys all the cars, but not okay. You mean the pre-race.
No, it's like when everyone shows up with their cars and the ladies.
Okay.
And it's just the women are dressed very oddly.
Why? What was odd about them? Well, they're English women.
Well, that is the only explanation then, if this doesn't like somehow take place in the future or something, because they're all just dressed very odd. I didn't write anything in particular down.
Cara,
I
this
was
is
just like,
London,
this-
baby.
Yeah, London, baby.
It's Rita Ora.
Rita
man.
Ora.
Were we talking about it with you? Where you said did it look like Rita Ora was in one of them or something? And we were like, she is eventually. Because oh no, we were. This is sorry. That was Joey and I when we were talking about everybody complaining that Cardi's going to be in.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, well,
Complaining about that? She's wonderful.
Cara, I don't think you
Why
understand the
would you complain?
mindset of most Fast and Furious. Not our listeners. Our listeners are on board with whatever nonsense we have.
we posted that the Cardi B is going to be in the Fast and Furious franchise, and it was just hate.
We've never
It was like these movies have gone to shit now.
we've never
And we're
posted
like,
a
"Do you
thing
not
that was
remember?"
more liked, commented, shared than that thing, and almost all of it was negative.
And it was everybody being like, they ruined the whole franchise. And we're like, bros, like, Rita Ora was in these movies. Iggy Azalea's in these. Like, how do you not understand that, like,
Also, if you saw Hustlers, Cardi B is a fucking movie star. Like
Yep.
she's so charismatic on
I haven't
screen.
seen it yet.
Oh my god,
haven't seen
it's my
it.
favorite
I'm
movie
about to
from
watch
this
it.
year. It's so good.
Oh, damn. Yeah, Joey said great things. You said great things. Okay. I'm excited to
I
watch
mean,
it.
talk about crying. I cried through most of it.
It's a movie about stripper criminals, and you cried?
Because it's a very powerful movie about
Okay.
women's friendship, terrible economic prospects, and
You're like, Joe, you're
Yeah,
not going to
no.
cry.
I don't cry at much. It has to be like a dead dog or like
Mm-hmm.
a Pixar movie. That's what gets me.
I guess on the subject of Rita Ora, and I guess on the subject of London and people like being in the future or whatever, like fashion notes? Question mark.
That was the fashion. Yeah, she was bringing it up. They were dressed weird. That's what
Yeah,
I'm talking
only
about.
but only in that scene Nothing else really stood out to me. I'm just doing a Google image search now. Yeah, I'm not finding any
I remember lots
pictures.
of really short skirts in this one.
Yeah, but I mean, not shorter
And
than
like
they were in the
leather.
last movie where they did not cover butts.
Yeah, that's true. It was like just like English stylies.
Yeah, just like British streetwear, I guess. You had said that the costume designer did most of the Fast and the Furious movies, but not all of them. Is this one of the ones that she didn't
I
do?
think she did this one.
No, I think it's like
Oh,
all of them through like Hobbs and Shaw maybe or something.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't imagine which ones she didn't do. I did think we just don't have it confirmed that she did Hobbs and Shaw.
Well, I found a YouTube clip called Fast and Furious 6 Sexy Scene.
What is the sexy scene? Can you just like tell us which scene it
It's got to
is?
be the describing the scars scene.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
car
okay.
party
Okay.
scene. Okay.
So costume designer Sanja Hayes
Yeah.
did the first one. She did Too Fast. She did Tokyo Drift. She did Fast and Furious 4. She did Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6, Furious 7. She did not do Fate. She did not do Hobbs, but she's on
Okay.
back on board for 9 and 10.
Yeah, just a lot of short skirts and stuff. I don't know why I thought this was like particularly weird. But no, there's really no clothing notes for this movie, which is why I thought maybe it wasn't her.
I become very desensitized to it. Like, you know what it's gonna be. They're just gonna match it to like whatever city that they're in.
It's just that the first one was so strong in that department and maybe
I
not
think
in
it was
any
the
of the other
nostalgia.
departments.
You got a little nostalgia tickled, I
I do.
think.
Yeah. I mean, you were asking me like is this one at the top of the list and like yeah, but at the same time that first one, man,
Yeah. I
it,
feel
I
you.
had it's like an honorable mention for number 1, even though it's like closer to number 4 on the list probably.
I have one other major note about this movie, and I think that this is something that's going to. I don't want to talk about it too much. I don't want to spoil what's to come, but I feel like I
Okay.
think we've talked about the sense of this. There's a line in this movie that kind of takes the movie from sort of being standalone stories that follow a character to being a through line of a narrative. I think,
Okay.
and it is
What
about an
is
hour
it
into the
to
movie.
you?
We find out that Giselle says we got something big. Braga is working with Shaw, and I think that we've talked a lot about how Braga fits into the overall narrative, and then how Shaw fits into the overall narrative, and these sort of
Yes.
seemingly standalone villains are now part of the same organization or same
Network.
network or whatever. There's this one line, and it's not like a throwaway line. They go back to Braga, they find out the information there, and that's when they find out that like Shaw only wants you close to him when he thinks blah 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 whatever, right? I think that there's something casually kind of amazing about that, whether it was intended,
Linking Braga
yeah,
back.
to really blow up. If they had the sort of the 6, 7, 8 whatever plan, whatever it was going to be with, if Paul Walker had not died. But I feel like it's in that one line that we're just like, oh, like this is bigger now. It's sort of like a noteworthy, like it's 55 minutes in, I think. There's like a noteworthy pivot point where it's like this went from being one thing to something else entirely. And I think that that's a very cool, like I feel like it's hard, and maybe just because we're so close to this, we've seen so many of these so many times. I feel like it's hard to notice that kind of pivot point in a lot of other franchises, right? Because it's like, where does it go from
Yeah.
being about characters to about this overall kind of narrative?
That's the turning point that this becomes one narrative for the next, through Hobbs and Shaw, right? Like that's it.
Yeah, and
Like
beyond.
once you link those two, this is where we can start like world building. That's an interesting point. And it's something that's weird because you only see it in hindsight. We don't know if that was intended to be a throwaway line like you're saying or if they had the foresight to throw that in there because we talk about things like the chain, right? The chain was in there. Is this one of those things like when we were talking to Walt? It's like he says like, oh, you put a lot of these things in a movie and then you can like reattach onto them. But like that one seems too intentional for me. We'll have to see how Kara feels about it in the future as we watch them.
But I think I was just, yeah, I think I was just struck by the weight, the monument, the size, like the impact, the meaning of that one line, and what that's going to mean for the
Yeah,
next handful of movies, and really for the rest of the franchise. Like again, whether they knew how big it was going to go, or whether they had to sort of backtrack and change things when Paul Walker died, I don't know. There's something really kind of special, I guess, is the only word that I can think of, like about that line.
What was the line?
We got something big. Braga is working with Shaw, basically
Oh,
saying the
okay.
villain from 2 movies ago is tied into the villain in this movie.
on a completely different note, when he shoots the harpoon through the vending machine, they had regional snack favorites of all of them.
Really? I saw some weird labels in there, yeah.
Yeah, there was like some American snacks. There was definitely Japanese snacks. So like they had curated the vending machine
Nice.
full of snacks that they individually liked. And I was like, damn, so like was Tej like filling this, like nobody's like stacking a vending machine like that. And like if you ordered one it would just be like all English snacks, right? Because you're like in England. But like no, they had like nice Japanese snacks that were like shrimp flavored and like some American candies and like stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I was like, oh man, I wish somebody would like curate a vending machine for me that would be like all of my favorite snacks and what would go in it. And what would be like the one snack that would be like your signature snack in your vending machine?
Ooh.
Oh, that's such a good question.
So if we were a crew, there's the vending machine. You know it's going to have like the staples, right? But like I'm putting the vending machine together. You're like, man, the one thing that I would want in this vending machine is
Well,
this.
so my go-to at a gas station, like the one thing that every gas station has that I know, like I almost exclusively only get at gas stations because if I got it any other time, I would gain so much weight just because like they're so bad for you, but I just can't stop eating them. So I get them when I just stop to get like a drink and this pizza flavored pretzel combos.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. They are so good.
Zero nutritional
I
value,
know.
all fat,
None.
all carbs, all just bad for you. But the
They're
flavor, the
gross.
salt,
Like if you smell them,
all of it. Oh yeah,
If
but
you-
it still doesn't matter.
if you smell them from a weird distance, they smell like dog food.
Yeah,
Pizza flavored combo.
pretzel flavor though. Yeah, not the cracker flavor, the pretzel. Pretzel outside
Yeah,
pizza.
the pretzel ones. Definitely the pretzel ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
for
green
sure.
bag, the
But,
white
oh,
with the
good.
green stripe.
Yep, exactly.
And then also, if you got a drink, yeah, if there's a drink vending machine, you got to get that Arizona iced
Arnold
tea, the
Palmer.
Arnold Palmer
In
light.
the can.
Yeah,
The 99 cent.
Price on the
Yeah.
can, though.
But I don't think they put those in machines because like the cans are too thin.
Well, it's a non-standard size,
Yeah, true.
but you could probably get like a special Arizona
yeah, Joe. If
vending
you're
machine.
custom curating this vending machine for us, get one that fits the can.
Hey, don't be a dick about like I'm already buying the vending machines and stocking them. Like I'm not getting special can sizes for you. Just drink the bottle. Don't be an asshole.
All right.
Okay.
No, cans are so much better.
I agree.
Mine,
The can of Arnold Palmer. Go ahead.
yeah, no, I would absolutely need ice cold cans of Diet Coke at all times.
Oh, Rachel's with you. She does love canned Diet Coke.
Yes, it's a
Specifically.
medicinal beverage. Okay. Snacks? I don't know. Something salty. Probably Cheez-Its. Those are usually my go-to. Or just like
What?
potato chips. Ooh, salt and vinegar potato chips.
Kettle.
I'm pretty agnostic about the brand. Just give me that salt and vinegar.
I get it. I get it though. I'm thinking like for me, there's a regional chip that is only is only in like Pennsylvania.
Is this what I had at the barbecue that one time?
Yes, the Snyder of Berlin, not Snyder of Hanover barbecue potato
Mm-hmm.
chips. And they're just like all MSG and they're so fucking good. And like actually I get my mom to send me some. That's what I asked her to send me for my birthday. That's what I would want in the vending machine. I'd be like, that is a snack that like was handpicked for me.
It's hard to describe them,
that's
Cara.
what-
Like they're
they're just
just
barbecue
potato chips, but they're 5% better.
yeah,
Okay.
they're like flavor blasted barbecue potato chips. Salt blasted barbecue potato
Yo,
chips.
you could just get like a whole vending machine of potato chips, just different flavors.
Regional, different internationality flavor, like different
Yeah.
international flavors would be nice.
There
That'd be
was
awesome.
this Lay's like experimental flavor. This is probably like 10 years ago, but it was like a X279 kind of like title
Okay.
to it. It had like this black bag. They tasted, and I shit you not, they tasted exactly like Big Macs. They were so good.
Ah,
When I was in Toronto last year, Canada is crazy with their chips. They're just like, let's just make chips that taste like everything. I'm like, I've had hamburger, like
Ketchup.
cheeseburger.
Ketchup chips, yeah.
There's ketchup, but like, there's like cheeseburger, there's taco, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But like when it works, it's like this shouldn't be good and it's not really good. But like, how'd you do this?
yeah, man.
But I applaud them for putting doing all that work there. So, oh boy,
I would also want chocolate chip cookies in the vending machine.
Famous
and
Amos?
maybe
Chip Ahoy or Famous Amos?
I'm really more of a Chips Ahoy girl.
Nah, Famous Amos always. Jeez.
I would also maybe want some donuts.
the little like the
Oh.
host like the powdered white donuts or the chocolate frosted with the
Chocolate
yellow
cup,
cake
yeah.
inside.
I'll take either. My preference
Oh,
is for
I
the
got-
chocolate frosted, but I'll go to town on some white
The
dusted
powdered are
ones.
good, man.
Yeah.
I like the powdered, the small powdered ones. Those are good, yeah. Wow, we got a really nice snack tangent.
Ooh,
That was good.
related. So I was watching them drive around at some point when they were driving fast.
That one
I
part in the
don't
movie where they're
remember.
driving fast. Okay.
That one part in this one movie. I was just sitting there thinking about, I wonder if they ever have to take a shit while they're driving. Because not only
The actors or the
are
characters?
they like the characters, like not only are they under like incredible amounts of pressure, but they're also like driving super fast, which like vibrates your butt and might make you have to poop,
Oh, yeah,
you
you're
know?
right. They must have like really good digestion because they're like constantly shaking their
Yeah.
colon.
I don't know about you guys, but I would have to take a pit stop or two.
We take one after every episode.
And right as I was thinking about that was when Letty showed up and shot Tom in the chest.
Yeah, she
And I was
shoots
like, whoa,
him right in the
okay,
shoulder.
that'll shake you out of your shit-related
Do you think he
daydreams.
pooped him? Do you think he pooped himself when she shot him?
He might have.
If you have a favorite snack, please write in to family@cageclub.me. What snack would be in the vending machine for you? It can be general and smell like dog food like Joey's, or regional and
Wow.
exquisite like mine.
Wow.
It's not our fault that we're from New Jersey and we don't have any culture.
I'm just teasing. Rachel loves the pizza combos too, dude. And I've eaten my fair share of them. I just said sometimes from a certain distance they smell like dog food.
Yeah, I don't really
that's
care what they
true.
smell like because I know that they taste delicious. That's all I know.
It's just such a weird thing because like the flavor is good, but like if somebody's eating a bag like in like directly next to you, you're like, is that dog food? 1 second you're like, oh no, and then you put one in your mouth, you're like, oh yeah, this is okay, that's good.
Any other thoughts about Fast and Furious 6 before we have one? We have a card guessing game. We have to play the Twitter game. Anything else you want to get off your chest? Anything else you want to say about Fast and Furious 6 before? Remember, next time Kara's on, we're going to go back to Tokyo Drift. So, which is another nice little benefit of this, Joe, is that we got a short movie coming up. We got 2 long movies,
We do.
and now we got a short movie.
We broke it up nice. Yeah, it feels nice to know that Tokyo Drift is coming up next.
I kind of like this order.
I do too, a lot. I really do. I didn't think that I would, and we've never watched it in this order, but I really enjoy it. Going like, okay, cool. Like now we go to Tokyo, and he keeps talking like, we're gonna go to Tokyo. Giselle's like, you want to go to Tokyo? He's like, I'll be there eventually. And then we're like, here, now we're going to Tokyo. Perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, any other thoughts about Fast and Furious 6? Kara specifically?
No.
Well, first up, this ain't no 10-second race, a.k.a. Boy, Do We Have a Podcast for You. This is where we go on Twitter.com and we find tweets from some of the fine folks who grace us with their tweet presence. So before we go to new tweets here, we're going to go back to last episode. We're going to review what we each guessed last time. So I'm going to go here first. I found Katie Babs at CI Babs. My God, Paul Walker in Varsity Blues, crying into a pool of tears emoji. And Deep Blue, and Fast and Furious, and Joyride, and Eight Below, and She's All That, and Takers, and Brick Mansions. Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Cast for you.
Of course not. I mean, I am bad at this game. Joe, you found Zero G Spot at Zero G Spot. When I go to Vegas and think I will bet it all on red or black in one shot, my conscience is like some anime meme of a guy getting slapped in the face with dollar bills. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Nothing. Kara, you found Gus at GM Corsero. Interesting how people like all these fake, quote, quirky relationship tweets, but ignore mine when I'm honest about Last Girlfriend leaving me because I am, quote, too passionate about Fast and Furious franchise. It reminds me of Letty leaving Dom in Fast and Furious. Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Podcast for you.
And I'll be goddamned if Kara didn't get another point. GM Corsero liked
Oh,
the
hell
damn
yes.
it.
I'm so good at this game. This is
God,
I've,
she's killing
Kara
it.
is
I've
up
never
to
been good at a game
8
before.
points,
so this is
one
very
behind me
exciting.
now. But again, this is like a 3 or 4 episode streak. Like, this is an unprecedented streak. I mean, Kara, you might not pass Joe, because Joe got really, like, he had like 8 points on one, like, it was just like, he basically, one tweet he sent, the guy responded, he liked it, what, like, it was so many points that I don't know that one tweet will ever be topped. You're, like, the streak that you're currently on, I think it's 3, is, I can't even, I don't even know how to describe, like, it's the greatest thing that's ever happened in the history of the show.
Yeah, you're just on a roll.
I'm really
It's
good
amazing.
at Twitter.
All right.
Or not
Apparently.
really, but kind of.
All right, so let's now go here. I want you all to find a tweet. I'm going to find a tweet now, too.
Oh, I got it. Oh my god. Okay. This one, it kind of for Kara. I'm going to post it here. It's from Thick and Confused at the Jungian, Jungian thing. It's a car party on my street right now. Thick and Confused. Boy, do we have a
That might actually
podcast
be
for
the
you.
Jungian thing.
Carl Jung.
Carl
Jungian
Jung,
thing?
psychologist.
Oh, okay. It's a car party on our street right now.
All right.
Damn. Oh, that's a good one.
All right, I've got a handful of ones that I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do.
I'm still looking. All the good ones I'm finding are from 2013.
So what I did, Joe, is I searched Ford v Ferrari Fast Furious, and here's a couple different ones that I
Okay.
found. I think I'm going to go with. I'm going to do two, but I'm going to count one of them. This is the
Okay.
one that I'm not going to count, and knowing my luck, it's going to work. Tyson Jomini at Tyson_Jomini, just like Fast and Furious, the real show at Ford v Ferrari is in the parking lot outside the theater, right, guys?
Oh,
Boy,
oh.
do we have a podcast for you.
Podcast for you. He's having lot bangers.
Guess
Jeez,
so.
it's a car party in the parking lot.
Well, here's the one that I'm going to do because this is my favorite one. Kenny Keel at Kenny Keel. Ford v Ferrari is Fast and Furious for people with NPR totes.
Wait. Read that to me again.
Ford v Ferrari is Fast and Furious for people with NPR totes.
That's hilarious.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
You got me. That's a good one, dude. Fuck. I don't think they'll respond, but that's a really good tweet. That's actually like I just want to go retweet that for my own page because that's fucking beautiful. That's so poetic.
I'm going to retweet it as 2F2F
Yeah, please. Like that's really good.
because it is boy oh boy.
That's top tier. Like that's comedic genius. It's just like so to the point, and you see it, and you're like, yep, yeah, that is. You're right. God, that got me. Good job, Kenny Keel.
Almost certainly not. It's not going to work, but
It's a fucking
It's a
hilarious
great tweet.
So
the next thing because it has nothing to do with me.
Okay, I found a tweet. It's man, it's not great for this format, this being an audio format, because it does include this video clip. Kiki Palmer,
Okay.
who was in Hustlers, somebody showed her a picture of like Donald Rumsfeld or someone.
Cheney.
I don't-
It was Dick
maybe
Cheney. I'm
Dick
sorry for this
Cheney.
man.
Yeah, and
Okay.
she was like, "I'm sorry to this man."
I hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street. I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man.
It's one of those tweets that's in that meme format. Nobody call in, and then it's blank. And then Letty, when she first sees Dom in Fast and Furious 6, this video clip. I am sorry. I don't know who this man is. I have never seen him before in my life. I am sorry to this man.
that's good. That's really good too. You
Little
found some
multimedia
really good
action.
ones. You guys found some good ones.
Boy, do we
Well, I got to keep my streak up,
have a podcast for you. Wonderful. So those are off into the void of Twitter. The next game we have, Dude, What's My Car? Joe, we obviously already opened the mailbag for this episode. Obviously, right? Like, I mean, we definitely did the first part before the second part. So I just don't remember if people send in car picks, but I think this is the last car pick that we have. So unless somebody sends one in, unless someone sent one in this episode or the next two, we might not have one next time, but we have one more
Send
at
us
least.
more. I like this game.
Cara told us that she wanted to help me give clues once again. This car pick
Okay.
comes from Nick Burris. This is an
Okay.
American
Thanks,
car,
Nick.
and it's an American car unlike any that we have ever guessed for this game before.
Oh God. Okay. Okay.
I don't even know if I'd
Interesting.
call it a car.
Oh.
This one is
Hint,
definitely. I need to search what this. There's words on the side.
There's words on the car.
Oh, okay. So it's from a road show that the manufacturer of this car put on. Like, Cara, you see the words
Okay.
that are under the make, and then on the other side, that's the road show that this manufacturer put on.
So it's not the Wienermobile.
No, but visually
it's not far off.
looks more like the Wienermobile than any other car that we've ever had before. It is
God.
a red car
Okay. It's a red
with some
car.
silver and with some white on there.
Silver and white. Red car. Okay.
It kind of looks like a fire truck.
It's not like a Red Bull car.
It's like if the
a Red
fire
Bull
truck,
one.
if like a fire truck and the Wienermobile had a baby,
Ooh,
it would be
okay.
this. And also a 1950s refrigerator because this car is from the 50s.
I was going to
Okay.
say maybe like a VW bus, but also a 1950s refrigerator does it.
A car company did a road show or a product company did
A
a road
car
show?
company.
Car company did a road show.
I want
You
to
don't know if
search
you'd call it a
specifically
car.
what this car is.
It's from the 50s.
It's a custom vehicle
Yes.
styled in the 40s.
Okay.
And it's an integral part to this company's the road show. I'm not going to say the name of it just in case you know it. A North American
Okay.
traveling exhibition promoting future cars and technologies.
Joey just sent me the Wikipedia link. Like I'm not already like 3/4 of the way through
I'm just
it.
trying to help.
Okay. Okay, so this car company does a road show exhibiting future technologies.
Yep.
And they have this traveling car that's red and silver.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a refrigerator and almost like the Wienermobile. and also a fire truck.
And also
It's American.
a diner.
It's an American.
Also a
and
diner.
Also a
yeah,
diner.
yeah, yeah.
Also a diner, and it's an American car company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's now.
It's now an all sorts of stuff company.
I don't want to say more than that because it's going to kind of give it away.
Interesting.
The Roadshow was in 1940 and 41, and then again from 53 to 56. The one that we're guessing now is from the latter group, from 53 to 56. Do you want me to give you some facts? 33 feet long,
ahead,
8
please.
feet wide, 11 feet tall, weighing more than 12 tons. Each of these cars featured
Okay.
heavily stylized Art Deco, streamlined bodywork, deep red side and white roof paint, large articulated chrome side panels, a military-grade 302 cubic inch straight six gasoline engine and automatic transmission, white wall tires, and a prominent, high-mounted, centrally located driver command position with a panoramic windshield.
Center command position. So there's like one seat in the front. Is it like a Winnebago company? Is it like RV National
No,
or something?
it's one of the biggest car companies in the world.
It is.
There were only 12 of these ever. One was destroyed in an accident, and as of 2007,
Okay.
9 still survived.
9 of them still exist. It's still one of the biggest car companies in the world, but it makes other things. You
No,
said.
well, it's kind of a
Or it
parent
was
company
one of the
now.
biggest. It's kind of the parent company of the car company.
There are 7 brands that this company owns.
And it's it's an American classic.
I want to like make an educated guess. Like I don't just want to like run down the line.
Okay.
Like the only thing I'm thinking of right now is Daimler Chrysler.
I would say
Oh, you think those are small potatoes?
bigger than that by a lot.
Really?
By a lot, yeah.
By a lot. Like they still. Can I go buy one of these
Yeah,
cars?
absolutely.
Okay. A Ford?
Nope.
No.
Bigger.
Like Chevy
I feel like maybe
The Chevy is owned
they're
by this company.
Yeah.
is owned by this company, and they make other things. Who owns Chevy that makes other things beside like makes everything?
It might be about as big as Daimler Chrysler. It's in the neighborhood of that. I think it might be a little bit bigger. Who owns Chevy?
Chevrolet? What?
No,
Does Fiat own Chevy
no.
now?
Chevy, Buick,
Chef-
Cadillac are all owned by one parent company.
General Motors.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. There
Okay.
You go.
Okay.
Would you say that's probably like the? I mean, I know that they don't specifically make cars anymore, but that's like the big car manufacturer.
Yeah. That's like the big American car
Right.
manufacturer. They've all kind of come together.
So yes, this is a General
Wow.
Motors car.
Okay, so send it to me. I want to see what it looks like. So it was a General Motors
yeah, it's
touring
wild.
car that would like go around and just like show future technologies. to
And
post
the
in
word
chat.
is in the title. It's a future liner,
Yeah, this is so fucking okay. So it does look like you
like
described
a
it,
fire
like
truck,
a fire
and
truck.
the Wienermobile had a 1950s refrigerator baby
Yes,
Also happened to be a
that
diner.
also was a diner.
and a VW bus. Yeah. Okay, cool. And what was in it? Just like a jet engine. It looks like power for the air again. It looks like it's a jet engine.
Power for the air age, yeah. So there were 12 different future liners that each had a different display in them. And this was, I think, number
Oh.
3, which is the
Okay.
Power for the Air Age exhibit featuring a cutaway Allison J35 jet engine passed through the Joe Bortz collection in the 1980s.
This is really cool. And like
The restoration of this one car, future liner number 3, was the subject of 2 episodes of the Velocity Channel show Bitchin' Rides. It underwent a 19-month restoration intended to be the most authentic, complete, and period-correct restoration of all that have been attempted so far. It's now kept in Ankeny, Iowa. Ankeny, Iowa.
That's really cool. This is actually a really, really cool car, and it's very unique. Was actually kind of hard to guess. Like I wasn't thinking of because I was in the Ford versus Ferrari mode. I was just thinking of like Ford and Fiat and things like that. I mean, GM, yeah, makes sense. So, but I didn't know that they ever made these. Like we weren't around.
But yeah.
And I've never seen one of these before. I wonder if like my grandparents would have been like, I remember that thing.
I mean, there were only
you know?
12 of them ever, so like I think if you saw one of these, like it's probably like it's part of history. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that they probably like I bet they hit like a ton of cities because really like how hard is it to like drive through a bunch of cities, right? And there's nothing else to fucking do when they're in the 50s.
True.
Like you'd be like, oh, this car pulled up, let's go see it. You know, like
The car's
that's what
in
I would've
town,
done.
folks.
Yeah, the car's in. I mean, dude, we still get hype about the Wienermobile. How many of those are there? Like, even if there's 2 or 3, like we still see them.
Well, there was the one
You
on
and I
Full
have
House.
Seen them.
Do we? I
I've
don't think
seen
I've
one.
ever seen a Wienermobile.
Not in real life. The Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
Oh no.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! I've seen it like multiple times, like 5 or 6.
Wow.
You like see it, it's like parked some places. Sometimes you see it when you're driving on the highway. Like lose my fucking mind. It's like the coolest thing ever.
Must be hard to drive.
I bet this thing was pretty fun to drive because you're just like captain drive the bus, you know, like brum, 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 way up high. It'd be fun.
Yeah, it's like you're driving a spaceship, but you're in the future, I guess, right? So
That's what driving a Prius is like.
with your forgetting to turn it off with your electric car mode.
That happened again today.
You know.
Hopefully you had gas this time.
I did. I just forgot to turn it off.
Well, Cara, thank you for joining us. Thank you for not dying in your car today. Thank you for joining us for Fast and Furious 6. We'll be back
That
in
was a blast.
2 weeks, going back in time, but forward in the timeline to Tokyo Drift. So now, Cara, this is going to be, and we can remind you on Facebook, but you're going to watch Tokyo Drift to the very end, and then you're going to watch the credit scene from 6.
Okay.
And then that's going to lead us directly into 7.
And then we're no more switching.
And then no more switching. Then it's 7, 8, Hobbs and Shaw. But before we get to Tokyo Drift, Joe, you and I are going to take, so far, hopefully, we were still sort of iffy on it last time. We have no more clarity. Hopefully it can happen. This Friday, as we're recording, last Friday as it came out, Vinegar Syndrome is putting out the Tammy and the T-Rex gore cut. And so
Black
we're
Friday.
going
That's
to...
Rachel and I's anniversary.
Yeah.
That's our anniversary. It's Black Friday.
Hopefully. Happy anniversary. Hopefully.
Thank you. I was going to say, hopefully it's my anniversary.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so too. But I think Black Friday is one I'd remember.
But, Cara, thank you so much for joining us. Come back next week, dear listener, for Tammy and the T-Rex, the gore cut, which Cara already covered the regular cut over on Brian's podcast, High School Slumber Party. We're going to cover the action, gruesome, R-rated gore cut, hopefully next week. If not, we'll have a backup thing in mind. And then come back in 2 weeks for Tokyo Drift, a movie that is going to be beautifully short. It's going to be such a change of pace, such a gear shift from the last few movies. Like 4, 5, 6 are kind of like a trilogy, a beautiful trilogy in and of themselves. 3 is going to it's going to fuck our shit up in a great way, and I'm very excited to watch it now.
Nice.
So I hope you enjoy it. I mean, 5 and 6 are the pinnacle, but 3 is a movie that Joe and I love very dearly.
I love it a lot, yeah. I think you'll like it.
As this comes out last week, you put out a Wistful Thinking episode of Jawbreaker.
Yep.
And do you want to give us, Lucy, do you know what you're doing next month, or is that too far away?
Nope. I have no idea.
Very cool. Well, go listen to Wistful Thinking, catch up with Cara and Jordan, and maybe Jordan will have some more questions for the past, or for future episodes for Cara, but go listen to them over on Wistful Thinking. And for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, you go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at TooFastTooForever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Come back next week for, hopefully, Tammy and the T-Rex, the gore cut. In 2 weeks for Tokyo Drift. Catch all 59 episodes of Too Fast, Too Forever on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And we will see you in a couple weeks. Or see you next week, really. Well, Cara will be back in 2 weeks. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
I am Cara Gael O'Regan.
And we'll see you next week right here on Too Fast, Too Forever.